Abarera Legos Ram Ori Banish C10 Demonio Dinaja 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 Abarera Legos Ram demonio, dinaja, abarera, legos, ram, ori, banish, C10, 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 demonio, dinaja, abarera, legos, ram, ori, banish,
Chat. Oh, hello, chat. Hail thyself, motherfuckers. How's it going? Welcome. You were muted, so nobody heard that.
Fuck you. I feel very upset now. I'm angry.
Yeah. Well, you know. So, everyone, welcome to the Malice Experience. I'm, of course, Mr. Malice, or Adius Dade, or Adius, or whatever the hell you want to call me. Below me is everybody's favorite bottom, Mystic Salon.
I don't know if I'm everybody's favorite bottom, because I'm sure some people have other favorite bottoms. But I am everybody's favorite versatile.
I guess we can rock that. We can rock that. Hail thyself, everyone. Hail thyself. That's going to be a big theme for today. So as the title suggests, which actually I haven't even told Mystic what the title is, so Mystic he doesn't even know what the fuck we're talking about. So as the title suggests, your darkness is your power.
Oh shit. Okay.
So I think it fits into the theme that you kind of want to talk about a little bit, like what you got to get off of your chest, and
It does. It does. Hold on for the noise. I apologize early.
It's all good. We're still waiting on Curtis. Curtis will be joining us this evening. Bonnie had told me that he was smoking a cigarette. I mean, it must be a really big fucking cigarette, but so he must be like smoking one of them fucking like Snoop Dogg style doobies. What the hell is that? That looks like a dirty ass blanket.
It's not dirty. It's just a blanket for the dog. It's a dog blankie.
I can hear the party boy music. Yeah. So before we get into all of that, before we start talking about our darkness, igniting our inner flames, and working with our darkest, most inner selves, Mystic is going to do his thing. He's going to go over the tarot tech of the week and the tarot reading of the week. So, Mystic, take it away.
I am so excited to use this deck this week because, as everybody knows, I like big decks. This is not a big deck. This is a little deck. I like all decks equally. Hopefully, you guys can see the name on this moderately small deck. Fits in your hand very nicely. I'm not like, is it okay to say the name of the deck? Like, it's for art or something?
Cosmic Cunt.
Cosmic Cunt. Okay, it's the Cosmic Cunt. I know that there's a lot of like weirdness about the name, like the word cunt, but this is, as you can tell, kind of taken back the word, right? You can see that image. That's Well,
I mean, worst case scenario, we can just call it the Cosmic Papaya. There you go.
Yeah, the Cosmic Papaya, but she is beaming him up right into her papaya. I wonder if his name's Scotty. You can sit on the chair, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, let's roll it over here so the dogs don't eat it. Our food was delayed. I apologize. I'm going to end up eating on the podcast, but it's definitely delayed. Ma, here on the floor. So we're going to read from the Cosmic Cunt. First of all, review-wise, love the back. It's reversible. This is to me, this is a perfect size deck. I would say it's about 3.5 to 4 inches. And probably 2.5 wide. So it's easy to shuffle. It fits in your hand. It's very, very nice card stock. It's reversible. You can't tell what's what, which is another thing that I really love. And this is the full. Oh, shit. Oh, my back hurts. This is the full for the Cosmic Cunt. This is definitely a different deck. This is, I guess it kind of goes along with the theme, right? The theme of, your darkness is going to give you power. This is all about, own your cuntness, right? That's actually in the book, by the way. I'm not saying this shit up. So this is definitely a different deck. It's not one that I've ever used before, but anyway, borderless is great. The design is great. It's very different. But it works. My two favorite cards, we have the Magician. So again, you've got representation of all the elements there. Instead of the High Priestess, they've got Divine. Yes. If you have the Cosmic Cunt Tarot, let me know what you think about it. The Lovers, this is a cute card to me. Very androgynous, which is something I like. And I also like the idea of having the mushrooms because, well, we're just not going to talk about that. Let's see. Got a couple of cards here. Justice. Cute card, I think. Again, really, really good card stock. The images look kind of juvenile, but I really like the style of them. They work really well. I feel like this is a deck that I would pull when I'm feeling excessively like in myself, like really, really powerful in who I am, not giving a shit what people think, and really trying to kind of live that, just be who you are kind of left-hand path thing. Sorry, I have to go through. Some of them are a little. Oh shit, y'all. I think these are the wands. I did not know that. I have not looked through this deck.
Well,
It's a-
it looks like it would get the job done.
So yeah, I probably should have looked through that before. Can I like we're gonna get closed. Like I'm showing it. I don't care. 5 of probes, y'all. This is my dream. 5 of probes. Now y'all know more about me than you wanted to know. This is probably should have gone through all these first, right? I'm just kidding. I know it's fine. I just have to separate the cards because this is a new deck that actually for some reason I ordered and then it disappeared. And then it came back. AKA they canceled my order and I reordered them so I could make sure I got a copy, but they're kind of stuck together, so I'm just making sure they're separate so I can shuffle because we're doing a read. I am going to have to take a minute though to look at and figure out what these suits are real quick. We've got the discs. Okay, that's Earth, that's Sun. Okay. I'm sorry, but 2 of discs. You're muted, but the 2 of dicks would have been fun, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Yeah.
I figured. I know you. So the disc, we got that. The probes, I'm thinking the probes would have to be our wands, right? Then we have the ray guns and specimens. Ray guns would be swords, specimens would be water. Okay, I've got to read the book. I've got to look at the book because that's just fucked up. Sorry. I can't tell who's supposed to be what.
That's what happens when you got 5 of them facing your face at the same time.
Yeah. I could go for 10.
Jesus.
That too. Pentacles are discs, wands are probes, swords are ray guns, and cups are specimens. I actually had it right. Jesus Christ. I'm happy.
Pappy.
Jesus Christus. I dated a guy named once. He had a really big probe. Sorry, y'all. I'm in rare form. I'm just going to admit it. Like it's been a rough, probably one of the roughest weeks I've had in a long time. Things are shitty in rephrase. My life is going extremely well, but some shitty things have happened or are happening. I'm going to talk about that later.
Like, that's kind of how it works out, though.
Yeah.
Happy Mexican Independence Day. Yes, it is. It is the Mexican Independence Day today.
Woo! Congratulations. I'm just shuffling a little bit to get some good energy reads out of these. I might have missed it. Did anybody have in the chat? Anybody have the Cosmic Cunt Tarot? Or a recommendation for a really good probe? Ribbed for her pleasure. All right. I kid. Let's go ahead and get some. Ma'am, that's my dinner.
I hear your ankle biters.
Yeah. It's funny because Finn, the newest addition to our 4 Chihuahuas and Samoyed family, will find any piece of food he can and then he will guard it like it's his. So my food is right next to me, and now he's guarding it from the other dogs.
Seriously?
He's 4 pounds. Dude is nuts. Like, the smartest thing he does, like I said before, the smartest thing he does is hump the air while he's walking. So, I like big decks and I cannot lie. You other never
It
mind.
sounds it sounds about like just about any other guy.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Mine.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean,
So
I was talking about humping the air part, but yeah, go for it.
no, I don't need to do that. I've got plenty of anyway. Knight of Discs. First card. First card. What is the second card going? Oh shit. Stuff is getting stuck here.
Mm.
Holy fuck. 8 of probes. I'm gonna show you in a minute. That's some shit. And 4 of specimens. This is gonna be really, really strange.
So that's what you get from 4 probes is 8 probes, you get 4 specimens. Is that how that works?
I'm just not answering. That's just not no. So the Knight of Discs, and I'm serious, guys. I'm gonna read this seriously as I feel it. Like, I know the deck is funny, it's cute, but it has a message too, just like anything else. So the Knight of Discs is one of those things to me that says, from the Pentacles, from the Earth, this is a pause card. I have a lot of pause cards in my repertoire. Most of them are Pentacles when you pull them, and the Knight is really about like kind of being patient. Lots of hard labor and things. Hard labor, get it? The specimens or the probes are coming. It's the hard labor. You don't need the soft labor. You need the hard kind. But really, the Knight of Discs is a card that says, let's over the next week, stop making decisions, stop thinking, stop processing, just hold steady. So stop whatever, and this is perfect for me because I need to stop what's going on in my head. But just take a break, stop what we're doing, and not make any big decisions. Let it go. Still work, still put in the energy, still go forward, but be patient and focus on like your reliability factor, I guess. Like your that eyeliner looks really dark. It's not that bad. Anyway. And our 8 of probes. So the 8 of probes represents well, I mean, the 8 of wands represents positive forward motion. So I would say the 8 of probes means try to fit all 8 of them in there. Right? Move forward, do the thing, make it work, make it actually be worth what it is, and go forward. There may be a journey that's going to be coming up for you, or something that you're working on, and you're going to have 8 different probes to consider. So you'll have a lot of choice in your near future.
Mm-hmm.
So far we've got take a break, and then really look at your multiple choices and be ready to take a walk for it. And then we have the 4 of specimens, which would be our cups, right? And so the 4 of specimens is really 4 of cups. So that would be like a we've got some things that are really stable, right? And even though we don't maybe feel all that stability all the time, we need to kind of give it a little bit of an injection of moving forward, or of not in, I don't want to say enthusiasm, but like when emotions are stable, sometimes we need to put something in it that's going to make it a little bit more. So it's kind of like get freaky in the bedroom, maybe. In this particular read, I wouldn't necessarily read that all the way, but following 8 probes, yeah, you're going to have to kind of get freaky in the bedroom. But it does represent stability. 4s are foundational cards. They have all 4 walls. They're structurally sound. And we might need to go ahead and put a little bit more energy into what we're doing so that we can actually have a different outcome for once. So let's go back real quick summary. We've got the Knight of Discs. So we've got some pentacle energy saying take a break, pause, continue working your ass off, but sit still. Look at all 8 probes. You can have any one or all of them if you want. And then inject a little bit of fun into what you're doing. Make it a little bit energizing. It's not going to change what's going to happen however things are happening. Just go for it. So that's what the Cosmic Cunt has to say today.
Get freaky.
Get freaky. Do the things that you wanted to do, that you were afraid to say that you want to do. And if anybody judges you for wanting to do those things, tell them to F the fuck off. I'm in a very F the fuck off mood tonight.
Well, all right. So on that note, we are going to pull in our guests. So everyone, we're going to be right back. We just got to get everything set up on the cameras and everything. So sit back, relax, and we're going to be back in like a minute. All right, we're going to be back with Curtis, everybody. So be right back. If I can find the whole intro screen thing. There we go. Go.
You fit all eight in?
All right, chat, we're back. And we finally got Curtis with us. So,
Yeah, good to be here, guys. Sorry about that. I was on a very deep discussion with one of my favorite teachers. It's been a good day. It's been productive. Yeah, good to be here.
excellent.
Sure.
It's always a pleasure to have you. It's always a pleasure to have you. Yeah. Yeah, we tried to get Scarlett and Nate on here as well, but I guess they're recovering from some heavy ritual activity. So, heavy ritual activity. So,
Lord have mercy.
So, you know, they're chilling tonight. They're probably in the audience just kind of watching. Always a pleasure to have you, Curtis. Always a pleasure to have you. So, as I said before, the title that we're working with right now, okay, what I want to talk about this evening, and I'm going to kick this off, and I want to kind of pick like Curtis's brain and Mystic's brain and kind of what they think about, like, you know, what I'm laying down here. So we're talking about your darkness is your power, right? Is what we're working with here. So now the reason I say that your darkness is your power, for me personally, is I've spent the day today thinking about what I have currently going on in my life and the things that I had going on in my life. Like when I was a kid, I kind of like went back for a little bit thinking about, you know, my dad and my stepdad, and wanting like my entire life, you know, just to kind of like please my stepfather, right? Just to kind of like, just want to hear those fucking words, right? I'm proud of you, right? That's what you wanted to hear, right? That's what I wanted to hear. Like my entire childhood, it was just like, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what you're doing. And, you know, it never happened. It never happened, right? And then, like, you know, when the man's on his deathbed, you know, that's when he finally decides to kind of say, you know, I'm proud of you. And I thought that I was happy with that. And then the more I think about it, I kind of realized, you know, yes, I wish he was still here. I hate the fact that, you know, he's no longer here. But I'm kind of coming to the realization, it's like I don't need it now. I'm proud of me now. I'm proud of what I'm doing. The whole Hail Thyself movement, you know, I'm proud of the things that I'm putting out into the universe. I needed, and I'm proud of you back when I was 14, 15, not at 34, 35 years old. You know, I'm a man now. Like I'm of course I'm proud of myself. I don't need anyone else to be fucking proud of me. I'm proud of me. And the reason I'm proud of me is because of the ability that I created inside of myself to use that negativity, to use that hate, to use that rage, to use that anger, and turn it into a constructive weapon. And now, mind you, I choose my words carefully here. I don't say tool. I say weapon. And I'm very intentional with that word. I'm very intentional with that. And I'm also very intentional with the idea that it's constructive. It is a constructive weapon. Because what it does is that it takes care of me in the sense that when anyone comes into my circle and there's an inkling that that person wants to cause harm, it's a weapon. It's not a tool. And the one thing, thinking about what we talked about in the impromptu episode, when we started talking about why we got into the occult, why we got into magic, you know, why we got into these things, and the things that a lot of us here in the chat, on this panel, have been through in our lives, none of us have had an easy past. None of us. Some might be perceivably easier than others, but none of us have had an easy past. All of us have had bullshit that we've had to deal with, people that we've had to deal with, shit that knocks us down a peg, shit that makes us feel minuscule, minute, unimportant, worthless. All of those emotions are things that are built and compact inside of us. Which, if you guys are wondering wherever, like, you know, the name Mr. Malice came from, that's what Mr. Malice comes from. Because it is everything that everyone has given to me. It's not that I'm malicious, but I am built from malicious behavior. So the idea of what I want to talk about, that your darkness is your power. You have, I feel, a choice, and everyone's at a different stage in this choice. You have to build to this choice. You can't just make this choice. You can't just say, okay, I'm here and this is what I'm going to do. You have to work through this. And I think this is where kind of like the occult comes in and what the occult helps all of us do. The occult helps us channel all of that shit into something that is constructive instead of becoming serial killers and rapists and murderers and just horrible fucking pieces of shit. We are capable of finding a moral compass through our own darkness and to control that darkness and control ourselves and move ourselves through the shit. Curtis, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, man. I definitely, I want to always convey, excuse me, a message of balance first and foremost. But in regard to trauma, in regard to bad fucking experiences, man, like I tell Bonnie all the time, I didn't have a fucking abusive mom. I didn't have abusive parents. I chose to leave home at 14, 15 years old because I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't want to be an engineer. I had issues with authority. So honestly, I brought forth a lot of my own trauma into my fucking life. But it was so important to me because that experience of raising myself, thinking for myself, it helped me to develop my ability to think. Most of us, dude, we don't start thinking for ourselves until we're in our fucking 20s or until our parents do die and we have no choice, you know? So those things definitely strengthened me and made me who I am today. A lot of people who claim to be my enemies, they have no idea what I've been through. And I guarantee you, most of them would not have survived. People like us who walk this path in earnest, in actuality, not on Facebook, not on fucking Instagram or TikTok. We are strong as we're built from or cut from a different cloth, you know, and there is no peace without war. I said this last week. This is where we get our strength. This is where we get our light. If I didn't face that opposition, that darkness, I wouldn't have the light of knowledge and wisdom that I have to share today and teach today. So yeah, man, I agree 100%. Is darkness alone our strength? I wouldn't go so far as to say that, but I will say that I agree in that most of us are ignorant and therefore dark, in the dark, in regard to our own personal power. But we use our conscious mind, we use our actions, we use our thoughts to create the world around us, and that deals with light. So yeah, that's my initial 2 cents. If you want to pass them.
Yeah, no, I completely, I can feel that. Like the balance, I mean, the balance is always there for me, right? As, you know, a dedicate and a Baphomet, like, you know, balance is always an aspect. You know, and I do want to kind of emphasize that I'm not just saying like what Curtis says. I'm not sitting here saying that darkness is the only thing that's going to give you power. I'm not saying that. I do think that you need to have a balance inside of yourself of both. But I want to focus on the part of ourselves that we're afraid of. I want to focus today on the part of us that a lot of us are afraid to look at. And it's because of the fact that we're afraid to look at that part of ourselves that we have a hard time coming to terms. Like, for example, this whole thing that I said in the beginning, I was sitting here saying that, like, I thought that I was happy that my father, my stepfather, finally told me that he was proud of me, you know, when he was on his deathbed. But I'm going to be honest. No, I'm not. I'm not happy that he said it when he's on his fucking deathbed, because he's on his fucking deathbed. I wanted him to say it 20 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
You know, not on his goddamn deathbed. I needed that 20 fucking years ago. Now, I was afraid to say, because the man was dying, I was afraid to say, no, I needed that 20 years ago. I don't need that now. I'm proud of me. I'm proud of the shit that I'm doing. I don't need you to be proud of me now. I needed you to be proud of me then. When I tried, when I busted my ass day in and day fucking out, because I just wanted you to look me in the goddamn eyes and say, son, I'm proud of you. I needed that 20 goddamn years ago, not now. And I was afraid to say that. I was afraid to come to terms with the idea inside of myself that that's what I really wanted to say. And I'm not going to lie, saying that right now, dude, that feels fucking good saying that. I know we can't hear it, but it feels good to say it.
It's almost therapeutic. Yeah, I can feel that in your energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I get it, but right now, dude, you're all the wiser, because, I mean, Jesus, I didn't need it. That's why I fucking left. I knew I wasn't gonna get it. That's why I fucking left. And I didn't care. I gave no fucks. I grew up in the hood, on the streets, by myself. I slept under park benches and dugouts. As a diabetic, I still managed to hustle, to make money, to eat. I had a good crew that wasn't necessarily always law-abiding, but I made my fucking way because I knew I wasn't ever going to get that. And I think it's us coming to the realization that we are proud of ourselves. That is a part of our darkness that we do have to accept and come to terms with. And there's not too many people out there that can say it authentically. I'm fucking proud of me. I don't need you or your pride. You know? And wow. I mean, it doesn't make me any better because I didn't care. Some have called me self-centered, Malice.
Mm-hmm.
And my rebuttal to that is no, I was just centered in self. There's a big fucking difference.
Totally.
Big difference. You know what I mean? Now you are centered in self. You know, Baphomet, this idea of alchemical balance, and now permeates your life. It permeates discussions like this. It permeates this podcast, and it's flowing through the pages of the text that you are scribing. So now is what matters. And that's what's really fucking scary to understand, is because now is the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Because we never know what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
We could die at any moment. Any moment. And I don't want to be that motherfucker on his deathbed with my daughter standing next to me, wishing that I would have done more.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I would ask you maybe to empathize with the man, because maybe he came to that conclusion a little too fucking late.
That's kind of where I was heading with my brain and the thought where I'm at. And I know I'm the unicorn vomity, you know, kind of whatever. But you know, when I left, very similar, I think, kind of to you, Curtis. You know, I was out of my house at 15. I was kicked out of my house actually at 15, but before that, I lived with my mom, and we were homeless at many different points. We lived in a car for 2 years. You know, this whole this whole thing that would fit into the darkness, right into my bag. That as it's been stuffed in there my whole life, Malice, like you at 14, wanting to be, or hear that pride or that fatherly figure say, this is what I love about you, because, and that's what pride is, right? From a father to a child. I'm proud of you because that's the love. That's you exhibiting the things that I want you to become as a man when you grow up, is what I've taught you. That's what makes me proud. Without them saying that, then they're not telling you they love you. And it can be hard for a dad to do that. My dad has never said it in his entire life that I can remember. But in the long run, I feel and figure that most people only have their own capability, and he just didn't have that. And at what point do you accept and say, I did need it then, and this is part of that next step, right? I needed it then, I didn't get it. Now you're realizing I'm allowed to say it. Fuck you, that was fucked up. You shouldn't have done that. Then you have to, though, move into that next step of, okay, it's happened. I can't do anything about it. What am I going to do differently in the future with my kid, so that my kid knows that that's not going to happen, or my family knows that that's not how it is, and not judge him for doing it at that point. I got there with my mom. Rook will remember this. We met with my family out in the middle of they're country folk, in the middle of the hills of Virginia. I'm talking like the hills have eyes kind of Virginia. So yeah, I think there's some cousins and sister brother stuff in there somewhere. Sister mom, I don't know. It's there. And my mom said something, and my mom was absent for a good 15 years right when I needed her the most. She said something of like, I wish I was a better mom. And I'm telling you, like, I unloaded so hard on that woman. 15 years of hate and vitriol came out at one point, and I felt amazing afterwards. And me and her, we completely repaired our relationship through that. You don't have that opportunity now, and that sucks, but you're going to have to figure out how to do that for yourself, you know?
No,
You have
yeah,
to
definitely.
figure out, go outside and scream why the F did you do that to me, you know, and let it out and move it through. But that's to me,
yeah,
that's darkness being your success, right? That's how you turn it into something positive.
That's the push through, because the thing is like growing up, like, and this isn't like, you know, feel bad for me, feel sorry for me. I don't need anyone's pity. I don't want anybody's fucking pity. That's not what I want. I'm just telling you how I've gotten to where I am right now. Where I am right now,
with us. We don't pity
like where I am right now, I'm happy about where I am. Now, can it be better? Of course it can be better. Am I going to work for it to be better? You're fucking goddamn right I'm going to work for it to be better. But I'm happy about where I am. I'm grateful and appreciative of what I have. My son is healthy. My wife is healthy. I'm, you know, for the most part, healthy, you know, and capable of working and making money and doing shit and getting shit done, doing these podcasts. I'm capable of doing these things. I'm grateful for these things. So I'm not looking for pity. That's not what this is about. What this is about is that there's a part of ourselves, and I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for any of you. I'll speak for me. There was a part of me that needed to break out. There is that teenaged, hateful part of myself that all these years has never broken out. Now, I know how immature that sounds because I say teenage version of myself, but I say the teenage version of myself because that's the version of myself that went through all of this shit. As a 36-year-old man, I don't deal with this shit anymore because I make sure that I don't deal with this shit anymore. Anybody wants to step up the bat, you better be goddamn right I'm going to swing. You know, it's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let people do what they did to me before.
That's right.
But that younger part of myself that never got that aspect out to say, why the fuck did you do this? Why did you do this to me? What did I do to you?
Well, see, and this is the ironic thing, and I want us to look at the psychology of that statement. Why did you do this to me? But the thing is, it's not what he did, it's what he didn't do. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Let's think about this. How can we get mad at somebody for something that they haven't done to us? Especially powerless people. We you know, I think about my parents. Dude, my mom's an intelligent woman, and my mom, she She doesn't agree with what I do, but she respects the fact that I've got more than just the average brain between my fucking ears.
Mm-hmm.
She does not have superior intelligence. My dad and that whole side of the family, the Irish, the Dohertys, they were drunken idiots that did nothing but bad things. We'll just say that. I chose to leave, and I am the person I am because I didn't do shit that other people do.
Mm-hmm.
We see kids that have dads that are hugging them and saying, "Man, I'm so proud of you. You know, you did great after the football game." Or you see them say about how great they did after the soccer game, and we can't fucking relate. I didn't get it either. It's not something I've ever sought, though. And we do have to go back and really deal with that. And it deals with healing that. I don't know if it's the teenage self or the child, the inner child that we have to heal to really come to the terms with the fact that we don't need people to validate us.
Well, I think you're right. There's an aspect that needs to be healed. So, and you're right. We don't need people to validate us because the whole idea about the football game thing, that whole concept. So, no, I didn't grow up with a father that said, "I'm really proud of what you did. You did a good job, even if you lost the game or if you won the game. I'm proud of you." You know, I grew up in a situation where it's like, don't be a fucking pussy bitch. Don't be a fucking afraid of the ball. Catch the fucking thing. Jump into a fucking thing. Don't be a fucking idiot. Fucking open your goddamn hands, you fucking worthless piece of fucking shit. Fucking do it.
Abuse. That's abuse.
You know, that's what I grew up with, day in and day out.
That's abuse. You said earlier that your parents didn't abuse you. That is abuse. That is the definition.
So most of my adult life, I sat here and I said, that's the thing that's made me the person that I am today. No, it is not the thing that made me the person that I am today. I'm the person that made me the fucking person I am today.
It's your response to it and what you've learned from it.
Right.
I'm the one that fucking stepped out of that fucking shadow and said, no, fuck this shit. I'm not going to repeat this.
Yeah, your life is your choice. You ended the madness, as did I. And dude, we are world healers. You know what I mean? This is the thing. So when you say that this is a constructive weapon, it is, because it is true that we, and I say this proverbially, we inherit the sins of our fathers, you know? When we end these toxic cycles, it's an incredible fucking power. Especially when we find ourselves in the same sorts of toxic fucking relationships. Like some of the fucking toxic relationships that I've been in, dude, I should be recreating these generational patterns, but I kept fighting. And now it's like I'm doing exactly what I want to do with my life. I'm getting better and better at it. I'm gaining more and more influence. And it's a fucking choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because somebody made me this way. It's not because someone treated me right or wrong. I just woke up one fucking day and I looked myself in the mirror and I said, I don't like this. Something's got to fucking change. And I don't. Understanding that I'm not going to look like fucking Brad Pitt. Okay, Curtis, well, what do you got in you? What makes you so fucking different? What makes you special? And I waited. When I was a kid, I waited for my mother to tell me what was special, for my stepfather to tell me what was special. My dad was never there. No one ever fucking told me.
Same situation. You're preaching to the choir.
So look at it from the perspective of Carl Jung, right? We talked about this a lot in the past. We talked about the shadow. We talked about Jungian psychology. Like that's kind of a thing. You know, I think is it Robert Bly, Richard Bly, can't remember who it is, writes of the long shadow. We spend the first 18 years stuffing things into the bag that then grow angry with rage over the rest of our lives as we try to empty that bag of things that we hate about ourselves only because our parents didn't like it or did like it, right? So we didn't put things in the bag in the shadow per se because we didn't like it. We put it in the shadow because they didn't like it, because our parents gave us that image. And this is kind of what Atropa is saying, and everybody, actually, a couple people, with the inner child. The inner child is, what did you think was right and wrong to put in that bag? And we don't learn that in that time period. We don't get any of that until we're adults. And you look at this bag and you're like, holy shit, I should have been able to do X, Y, and Z. I should have been able to, I didn't need that pride, but you didn't know that then. So when you open that bag and you start looking at all the stuff that was stuffed in there, what your dad hated, what your mom hated, what your, what you loved about yourself that you stuffed in there away to not grow because somebody else didn't like it.
Yep.
That's the darkness that comes back out as an adult. And you can either use that to be like, oh, woe is me, this shit sucks, my life sucks. Or, holy shit, I made it through that stuff. I'm going to double up on it, and this is where I'm going to go.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so so breaking this down, like I agree with both Curtis and Mystic. Both are explaining and laying things out on the table right now that are highly important, that I think for all of us to learn, including myself. Now, the statement that your darkness is your power. Your darkness is the part of you that you hide away from. The darkness is the part of you that don't want to look at anymore because, for example, precisely what Mystic is saying. Like there's parts of you that you liked that you hid away from yourself and away from the world because somebody else didn't like it.
Yeah.
When Curtis was talking about toxic relationships, what happens most of the time in a toxic relationship? You change who you are to appease another person, because you want that other person to accept you. You're repeating a cycle in a toxic relationship of the same toxic relationships you had with your parents. You're repeating that cycle. Now, if we can understand that there's actually things in the darkness that we like about ourselves, and that we can understand and accept that, no, I'm not a nice person all the time. I'm not a good person all the time. I'm not. I'm capable of destroying you. I have the capability to wipe you off the fucking map. I choose not to do that. And to understand that you make the conscious decision to not do that is power. You can take your darkness and turn that into power. Power of self. Control of self. And truly appreciate thyself.
Yeah.
Agree.
I mean, I agree directly that our darkness is our power. It's just, I mean, darkness is a vague term. We can say the darkness can be considered the subconscious mind. True, there's a lot of fucking power there. We can say that the darkness could equate to our trauma. Okay, true. We can take the Jungian approach and say that the darkness deals with the ego or the id or whatever the fuck. For me, I see darkness as potential because energy is energy. How you use it, that's the fucking key. And the issue is people don't know, and that's honestly the difference between a magician and everybody else walking the streets. We understand that energy is energy, and we're always using it to fucking create. I drive people fucking crazy because we could be in the middle of a fucking tornado, a typhoon, and I'll be fucking sculpting, painting, writing, meditating. And they're like, what the fuck? Well, what? There's no practical fucking reason for me doing this, Curtis. Why? What the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, me.
Because I fucking want to. Yeah.
I'm doing what I want. Being unafraid of the unknown. That typhoon might carry us the fuck away, but at the end of the day, am I really going to be able to stop it regardless? I'm going to sculpt until that happens because that's what I want to do or I will be holding my child, whatever the fuck I might choose to do. That potential, man, that energy, what we do, how we act, that's what makes a difference
No, true.
between some drug addicted
Well,
victims of
yeah,
society.
exactly. When you reach that point, when you're at that point, when you're at that bridge, when you're at that Y section, that fork in the road. That again, I'm going to speak for myself because I don't want to speak for other people and their situations. But this is my situation. So there was a point in my life where I was on the verge of being homeless for the third time. I was smoking crack cocaine. Pretty regularly. I wouldn't say necessarily to a point of addiction, but I was definitely getting there. So you're talking at least like 2-3 times a week. So I'm fucking, it like I mean to the day, man. Like when I think about the sound of the wire and the crack going through the fucking wire, and that fucking feeling when you blow that smoke out, man. Like to the day, man. I'm like, oh wow, that was such a good feeling. But you know, I'm not there. I'm not there anymore. It's done. And it's something that there are days where I deal with it. Most of the days I don't. But I was at a fork in the road. Is the point? I was at a point of making a choice. I was like, am I going to continue down this road and escape everything, or the perceivable escape? You're not, because you're not actually escaping shit. You're waddling in it. You're soaking in it. You're marinating in it, and feeling sorry for yourself, right? It's sitting here saying, well, I don't want pity from others. Well, yeah, well, I pitied myself enough already, And then there's the other choice. Get fucking right and do what's good for you. What's going to put you on an even fucking keel? And I didn't do it alone. To say I did it alone would be selfish and a lie. Because if it wasn't for the person that intervened, and the person that intervened at the time was my wife now. If it wasn't for the person that intervened at that point in my life, I'd probably be a fucking crackhead right now. I wouldn't be where I am at right now. I wouldn't understand what it is that I understand about myself right now. And now understand something, chat, and everybody listening to this after the fact. Understand about myself. Not about life, not about the secrets of the world around me, about myself. What I needed to be whole. Okay? I reached that fork in the road, and we all reached that fork in the road.
And it is power. And this is what, guys, I gotta clarify. In regard to what the all the occult shit, what it's supposed to be and mean. And I'm clarifying this for those that might not be that experienced in the occult. There's far too many people that think this is about mastering evocation and calling on demons or angels, regardless, to grant your fucking wishes and to control others. But that's not the case. Occult power is displayed through self-control. Power is displayed through this Eastern principle we call Gung Fu, which simply means self-mastery. People think Gung Fu is punching and kicking and trapping and all that shit. It's not. When you are a master journalist or a master gardener, you are displaying Gung Fu. That's what occult power is. It's self-control and self-mastery. It's about understanding that you're a fucking tool. Now that's an insult. And I will add insult to injury, and I'll say most people are broken tools. But you are a tool that can be used as a constructor of a new world, something else, something better for your children. Who's working towards that today? Very few. Malice, you are. You guys are doing it. I'm doing it. Most motherfucking occultists out here, though, they're out to control others in their wallet. They're out to take their money. That's not self-control, and I'm not impressed. I'm not easy to impress. You know?
I'm with you. I'm with you. It's a decision. It's a choice that's made every single day to continue to allow the darkness that lives inside of us to be constructive. Like just like what Curtis said, energy is energy, right? Whether it's dark energy or light energy, the energy that you have inside of you works how you want it to work. It's something I constantly talk about on this channel.
Potential, right?
It's exactly.
And that's why it's unknown potential, and that's why it's all darkness. Because what are you going to do with it? That's kind of up to you. And people are, in a way, it's a knee-jerk response to be afraid of that. And that's why we have to explore it. You've got to have that courage to say, you know what? No, fuck you. I am proud of me. Like, I have to do it every fucking day. And if I can't say that honestly, dude, I call myself out on it. I have high expectations on motherfuckers. Very high expectations. And I have them on myself, too. I'm always calling myself out. I'm always looking myself in the mirror saying, you know what? You need to be doing more. You need to be pushing to get better. You need to be expanding your business more. You need to be pulling in more money. You need to be doing this. You need to be doing that. But the thing is, most people, when they're not doing it, and they say, you need to be doing this, what happens is they realize they're not doing it, and they allow this darkness to swallow them. Like a Venus fucking flytrap, man.
Yep.
But it needs to be the fire that gets lit under our asses for you to understand that power. Like you said, being able to look at it and say, you know what? I can fucking destroy you. And the reason you're still walking this motherfucker is because it's my choice.
Yep.
That's the difference between me and Dahmer.
Well, it's exactly. I mean, that's the thing. And the thing is here's the thing. So I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to quote Jordan Peterson here.
Yes.
Fucking Curtis is like, yep. So Jordan Peterson laid it out pretty clear. And when you sit there and you think about the darkest parts of humanity in general, sit there and think about Adolf Hitler for a little bit. Think about Stalin for a little bit. Think about, whoever else, like, fucking Vlad the Impaler. Whoever you want to think about. And understand that you are literally a single decision away from being no better than any of them.
Yeah.
Like you, everyone sitting here listening to this right now, you are nothing more than a single decision away from being no better than any of those people. And when you understand that you as a human being are capable of great cruelty to another human being or another living creature, and you understand that every single day you make a conscious decision to not do that, shows how truly powerful you are. But understanding your darkness and controlling that darkness, because it's a constant decision that you make every single day to not fall into it. You are in charge of the darkness. The darkness isn't in control of you. You're not holding it at bay. You're controlling it. If it needs to come out, you let it come out. If somebody threatens your family, you rip their fucking head off. But if it doesn't need to come out, you control it. You have that power. Your darkness is your power.
Yeah. You know what? It's interesting that you said that, man, because I say this to Christopher all the time. You know, this kid, he's always talking about his video games and comic book heroes and shit. And I'll say the only difference between Batman and the Joker is the decision made after a very bad fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
They both had a very bad fucking day. It's just one decided to do something and one decided to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just an interesting thing to contemplate, really, when we think about this in a philosophical way, because most people think of power as what you can do, but we're looking at the absence of doing as power.
Mm-hmm.
That's such an interesting mind fuck.
But it's 100% true.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It is. It is an interesting thing to contemplate.
Because it depends on how you look at it, because you're doing and not doing at the same time.
Mhm.
You're making a conscious
because you're choosing.
decision. You're choosing, so you're doing something. You're choosing not to do this, which means you're choosing to do something else. And because you're choosing to do this other thing instead of this, that is where your power lies. Because you're saying, is it worth it in this situation? Is it worth it in this circumstance to let the beast out?
Right.
Because make no mistake of it, inside of every single one of us lives a beast
Oh, fuck yeah.
that Lucifer himself trembles to.
Yeah. Yeah. We're fucking animals, dude. We forget that. We human beings like to look at ourselves as some sort of superior force in this world. But the truth of the matter is, the animal kingdom looks at us like retards. We are destroying our own habitat. No other fucking people do that. We are beasts. We are fucking monsters. Without a doubt, man.
Agree.
And you really can tell a lot about a person when you see what they do under pressure. When you look at what they do when they're under stress, when you see how they respond. And you know, even Bonnie, dude, she helped me draw a line at a certain point because she said, you know what? You've been silent for too long. And I was afraid of that darkness.
Fucker, I told you that.
Yeah, you did too. It was, but my point in saying all of that is oftentimes it is a matter of understanding that we are afraid of that power. Because I did, dude. I let the bullshit happen for years and I never said anything. I ignored it. The slander, all of it. I ignored it. The hatred from my own family. You know, looking back and thinking, like, why didn't my mother care when I ran away? She didn't even call the cops. Like, am I that fucking ugly of a person? Am I that fucked up? And looking at my current life and seeing that this abuse, it had continued into my relationships as I became an adult. Looking at girlfriends and those toxic fucking relationships. And then I'm like, you know what? She's kind of right. Everyone is kind of right. I've got to eat people alive. And it's hard to turn off. It's hard. Once you let that motherfucker out, man, you know, everybody knows.
It's just understanding that part of yourself. It's like understanding that beast that lives inside of you, and understanding that it's not something to be afraid of, but it's something that it has a place when it needs to come out, and it has a place when it doesn't need to come out, and it's understanding and controlling when it does and when it doesn't.
Yeah, it's using it in the proper context.
Exactly. And most of us, at least, like, I mean, I again, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I do feel that, like, when I look at, you know, the world at large, most of us are afraid to accept that part of ourselves. Most of us are afraid to sit there and say that that part even exists. Most people, if you sit there and say, if you could kill somebody right now without ever getting in trouble and no one ever knowing, who would it be, would say, nobody. And I would say, you're full of shit. I would say, you're fucking lying to me. If you're going to sit there and tell me that that you have no desire to kill absolutely anyone, you're a liar. There is a part of you that if you focus on it well enough would say, yeah, I would fucking tear this person apart limb from fucking limb and inject them with fucking, what's the, Mystic, help me. What's the thing to wake somebody up? What, adrenaline? I would inject them with adrenaline to make sure that they were awake for every single part of it. The moment that they started to pass out, I would inject them with adrenaline again to make sure that every single scream was heard.
I really appreciate that idea.
All of us are capable.
Feel good inside.
All of us are capable and have that at least one person that we'd like to do that to. Now, that you're afraid to accept the fact that you would be willing to do that, that's different. I accept it.
Engineering, though, man. That's what sucks. That's why we've got a bunch of bitch homemade men and women walking these streets acting like they're tough shit. Because they're all deluded. They all deny it. And the social program says that we need to fight against that darkness. That darkness is Satan. It's San Diablo. It's the devil. You know what I mean? Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, then the devil is fucking cool. Because he's the reason I'm still here. If it would have been up what people call God, I'd be dead as fuck, bro. Dead.
I accept the fact that I can off the top of my head, I'm not going to mention names because if anything ever happens to these people for any reason, regardless of whether it's me or not, I'd be in deep shit. But I can think off the top of my head of five people off the top of my head that if I had the possibility, it was presented to me to murder these people and not be caught doing it and do it in any way that I wanted to, I would. Now, as a reasonable human adult, I'm not going to act on this emotion because I know there's consequences to actions. Therefore, I control that part of me. I'm in control of that. I control. I'm not going to look for an opportunity for nothing to happen because something's always going to happen. There's consequences to your actions. Karma is a thing. Karma will run its course. It takes time, but it will come. It'll happen. But I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of the part of me that would be pleased to be able to have that opportunity. That part of me exists.
Like you say, karma is a fucking thing. Malice, there's probably a lot of people in this fucking chat that disagree because of current left-hand path teachers. So I want to tell those people flat out, I'm going to break it down real fucking simple. You don't have to call it karma. But if you are in a relationship and let's say you're a man, you're in a relationship with a woman that spit in your face and slapped you in public, and then she wants to wonder why you're not trying to have sex with her. That's her consequence. You will reap what you sow. There is always cause and effect. This is science. So you can deny karma, but if you punch someone in the face, they're not going to give you a hug. If you throw a brick through someone's fucking window, they're not going to invite you in for a gin and tonic.
Mm-hmm.
It's cause and effect. So these people that listen to these modern doctrines that karma doesn't exist, I do what I want.
Mm-hmm.
It's a deluded lie created most of the time
by drug addicts who are deluded.
Yes.
A good portion of modern occult authors are drug addicts. And these are the heroes of wannabe upcoming magicians. The fuck's wrong with humanity?
Mm-hmm. So one of the things I want people to understand something. So I want people to understand something. This is something I've believed for the longest time. Sometimes don't take this, please. I need a disclaimer before I say this. Please do not take this to heart. There are nuances to this. But sometimes you are the hand of karma. Karma chooses the hand she uses to dish what needs to be dished to those that deserve it.
Yep.
And sometimes you are the hand of karma.
That, my friend, is a direct lesson. I have an entire session about just that in my curriculum. It basically, here's what it states. I'm going to give a brief synopsis. We have to be centered in self without being self-centered, and we have to understand that when we are truly anchored in love, we will oftentimes be the sword of the dragon or the sword of karma.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are not cursing out of malice. We're cursing because we understand that certain kinds of individuals are cancer cells.
Mm-hmm.
And we are the red blood cells. We are the Earth's immune system. You know what I mean?
I do.
And so you can definitely understand that there is a pedophile that has raped his sisters, that is now living in a house with children. And you might feel like those children are in danger. And that motherfucker might go to fucking court and go to jail for molesting one of those children. And then end up walking the streets the next day because it happens. Dude, you claim to be a person of power as a magician.
My issue with that, my issue with all of that is somebody needs to get hurt first in order for us to punish those that are wicked. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, and I know Mystic is going to disagree with this. And Mystic, I love you, man. I love you with all my heart. You're a brother. You're a family. But there's a great part of me, as someone that has suffered molestation and sexual abuse as a child and has to deal with the repercussions, not only inside of myself, but with people that do know what I've been through, judging me for the fact that I have a kid, which is the most disgusting. By the way, allow me to put this out there. I'm going to put this out there. I was a victim, and you have the goddamn audacity to turn around and judge me because I have a fucking child. For any of you that judge me because I was a victim and I have a child, fuck you. I hope you fucking burn. I hope you fucking burn and scream in fucking pain. Fuck you. I just want to get that out there. But
Yeah.
I think that it's absolutely disgusting that we need to wait for someone to actually deal with what it is that I had to deal with in order for someone else to be punished for what it is that they've done or what it is that they have in their mind.
Well, I mean,
Because I'm talking about punishing somebody before they do something, before an actual crime is committed.
Okay, so yeah, I definitely disagree with that. No question.
Exactly.
Because you have no way to know. I mean, it's not because if you knew, then sure. I mean, that's a fucking movie, a stupid movie at that. But there's no, it just doesn't work that way. That's not an option. So I disagree with it because that's a stupid concept.
I agree with it as a stupid concept.
That's the thing, and here's where we really got to analyze our words,
because I think we tend to get overly passionate. We gotta actually look at our words, because on one hand, we cannot say we all would fucking kill somebody. And if you say we wouldn't, you're a fucking liar, because I agree with that. I agree with that statement. We all have that one person, at least, if not multiple.
Yep.
And then on the other hand, say people need to be severely punished before they do it. Because then what we are saying right then and there is destroy all of humanity. And that includes our children, because our children are going to make mistakes and do bad things. We can. In passion, we can say it.
Yes.
Fueled by emotion and these feelings, because we're starting to get this spark of, energy in us. But at the end of the day, you don't really mean it.
No,
Well,
the
thing is, we don't all have one person. I'm sorry, we don't. It's just not true. You may think that there is the potential for, yes, I am capable of doing something should the need arise. Absolutely. I'll fucking kill somebody if they mess with something. I'm not worried about that. Like, I have that. But I don't have one person. So we have to be very fucking careful with the words that we use when we talk. We have to mean what we say.
But you agree that you're capable of doing it where the circumstance is necessary.
But that's not what you said. So say what you mean and mean what you say. That isn't what you said. So choose, like Curtis said, choose your words appropriately, because you're assuming that I.
No, it's okay. Because this is what I love about Mystic. This is what I love about Mystic.
All of this. No.
What I love about Mystic, what I love about having Mystic here is, like, Mystic is the voice of reason.
Because he doesn't talk much.
No, Mystic is the voice of reason. Mystic is
not reason. It's not even that. It's when we make comments, if we are the people that are having the podcast, that people are watching and considering the comments of what we're making, we have to be fucking clear about what we goddamn say.
I personally feel, it's a personal opinion, it doesn't make it a fact, but what I'm
referring to is your assumption of what I would and would not agree with.
This is what I'm saying, is that in my personal opinion, and obviously Curtis's as well, I feel that if we were to think hard enough, at some point in our lives, maybe not right now, at some point,
completely different message than what you were just saying.
But maybe so.
English.
Maybe
you teach it, so use it properly.
I'm speaking it. At some point in our lives, maybe not right now, maybe you've gotten past it, but at some point in our lives, there's always been one person, or has been one person that you would have liked to harm for what they've done to you or what you feel they've done to you. Whether that be the teenage version of yourself.
I think there's a notebook somewhere. But that's me. I do. And the thing is, Mystic, one thing I will say is he does say, Mystic, that I'm not speaking for everybody. And so, I mean, in a way...
No, hold on. You can't say I'm not speaking for everybody, but then say we all have one person. That's not how this works.
That's how I feel, but I can't speak for everybody because I know that there's going...
You can't say it.
But I know that there's going to be...
Everybody in this chat does not speak the same English or does not know the same content. You have to be careful with what you say.
Yeah.
That's my point.
There's certain people now canceled over stupid shit that they've written in books.
Yeah.
Years before cancel culture existed.
People are gonna be running up like Malice wants to kill everybody, y'all. Did y'all hear that? Seriously.
So I mean, I can only truly speak for myself. But in my personal opinion, I feel that...
In my opinion, I have somebody in my past that I would like to kill. That's the only thing that you can say right there that is accurate. You cannot say how you feel about what other people feel. It's not going to work. I'll keep interrupting you.
That's okay. That's okay. Mystic, that's why you're here. That's why I have you here.
It's hey, everybody. I'm going to tell you, this is how I feel. It's a personal opinion. I feel like there is somebody in my past that I would kill. That is the only thing that you can accurately say with the statement that you're trying to make.
No, there's 5 people that I would kill.
7. I mean, you might have a list written somewhere.
No, I do not. I do not have a list.
That's a lie. That is a full-on lie. That is completely inaccurate.
But
I've seen the list. Actually, no, I haven't. But I'm just saying.
you know,
But that's my point. My point
I
is,
understand what Mystic is saying. But
we've had
I mean,
the same
even
conversation like 1,000 times. It's every.
but the thing is, I feel that like if we sit there and we sulk on it and we sulk on certain things and we feel certain things in the moment. I do feel that everyone would have at least one person that, like, even if they say that, well, at this time I would have done it, maybe not now, but then I would have done it. That still counts as one person.
So,
you know,
like that point in time where you're like, oh, I want to kill that motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
No, even those though, when I've said that, I've felt that, but I've never felt that I could actually physically do it.
Right.
Like, I don't know that I have that in me. I don't know that I have the capability, and I think it's important that people don't have that capability, or else everybody would be fucking dead. Like
no, I think
would
it's
be over.
I disagree. I disagree. I think it's important that everyone has that capability, but understands and how to control it. Understands to say that
capability.
Which is why we have murder and mass murder and serial killers.
But not everybody has the capability of hurting somebody. It's not. I mean, truly.
No, I think it's important for people to understand their own power. I think it's important for people to understand
That's a different message.
I think it's important for people to understand that don't get down on yourself that you feel like, oh, I didn't stand up in this moment when I should have stood up in this moment. Understand that you had the capability of standing.
Of assumption, though. That is a lot of assumption that everybody else is feeling and thinking the same way you do, because that's their only perspective.
Everything in life is assumption. We assume.
No, it's not. It is not.
We assume
everything in life is not assumption. We do assume a lot of things. Absolutely, there's a lot of things that we assume because we've categorized things in a way that we can address them quickly because we're human beings and we need to address things in situations very fast. Right? That's a thing that we have grown and what do you call it? The dude that did the stuff that said we grow. Whatever.
Curtis, I can see the look in your face. Don't worry about Mystic taking the gas out of the sails. It's needed so we don't get sued.
I want to actually go out on a limb and say that you could not, if you feel, and I definitely understand that there's people out there that have no interest with hurting others. And I think those people are important. But I also remember Mystic saying last week that it's important to have also those people that will go out of the way by drawing a fucking line in the sand.
Yes.
Right? I remember every fucking thing. I'm a goddamn Gemini. Right?
Same.
Do not say anything or it will be held against you in the court of law. Trust me. Believe that.
Yeah, but that's not holding against me. That's accurate.
And I want to say, if you feel this way, if you feel like there's people that you would kill, you should not only control it, but you should exercise it. But
agree.
You should exercise it in a way that is conducive to your own personal growth, that is not breaking laws or hurting other people against their own true will. Because, man, there's a lot of boxing gyms in Mexico. There's a lot of fucking MMA gyms in LA. There's a lot of fucking ways. You know, get it out. Use that energy.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, I talk about this a lot. When I was a kid, when I was in high school, I would pick fights with like the biggest jock, like the guy that was the most, that was like the biggest, baddest motherfucker in school. Like, I mean, I had a prison mentality before like I ever did any fucking jail time in my life. And, you know, the thing was, it was like this idea in my head that like, you know, I was getting this shit kicked out of me at home. And I wanted to prove to myself, not anybody else, I didn't give a fuck about anybody else. I wanted to prove to myself that I could stay alive, that I could survive. And the way that I proved to myself that I could survive was finding the biggest, baddest, most popular fucking dude on the fucking football team and throwing a goddamn punch. Like I didn't ask any question. I didn't talk any shit. I was the motherfucker that I would walk up to you in the middle of the hallway and I would throw a punch to your fucking face. That's what I did. I never did it, and I can honestly say that I never, ever picked a fight with anybody that I thought was weaker than myself. I always picked a fight with somebody that I thought could kick the shit out of me. And 9 times out of 10, guess what? I got the shit kicked out of me. 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, see, I don't mean that. Because I don't want my friends to get the shit kicked out of them. Whether they're you or the big fucking jock. Like, I think people really should understand that, and this is what I believe, Malice. I believe if you take away government, you take away police, and you ensure that everybody can make an adequate amount of income to be able to thrive in this world, at the end of the day, nobody...
What happened? We lost everybody. Oh, sorry. I lost you guys. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
Uh-huh. See, even Discord agrees.
That was a mind fuck. I don't even know what I was saying there. But, oh, yeah.
Yeah, do. I liked it.
I don't think people really do seek to hurt anybody, man. And that's why anarchy would actually work.
I agree. 100%. I think that like my whole thing is, in all of this discussion, it's not a disagreement that people, all of us have the, and it's kind of reading what Behemoth is saying. Yes, I do believe everybody has the primal force. I do believe we are all actually capable of hurting some other people. If I need to defend somebody, I'm going to defend them. But that doesn't mean I have one person that I could do that to. That's because that, to me, involves an intent of something that doesn't exist yet. Because it has, to me, personal opinion, when it comes to the point of taking that aggression out, it has to be based on the decision at the moment when it occurs, or else it wasn't necessary. So, but that's the thing is I recognize that as my perspective. So I recognize that other perspectives have to exist, and I don't agree with them, but the other perspectives have to exist, which is why I can't say, me personally, I can't say that everybody has one person or everybody has somebody that they would do that to, because that's me applying my perspective to somebody else, right? So as we always do, it is a same subject, same meaning, different words. That's
Mystic.
the whole point. Yes. What?
Mystic, I love you, man.
Fuck you.
I do, man.
I would like
love
to
you.
kill you right now. I'm just kidding.
Oh, look, you got one person.
No. No, I have to write it on my list though. Like it doesn't count if it's not in my book, right? Like it has to be in my notebook.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that.
And don't you dare say agree to disagree. Swear to God, I'll fucking murder somebody right now.
No, we just disagree. We just disagree.
Thank you, Jesus. Oh, I hate that. Agree to disagree drives me nuts.
But the thing is, I do feel that most people at some point, like in their lives, maybe Mystic is right that I should have chosen my words a little bit more appropriately. I think that everyone at some point in their lives, whether in the past, now, or in the future, has that one person that they would be like, I would, even if like you just say it,
I promise.
Even if you just say it in passing, that you've maybe said it in passing, I would kill that motherfucker if I could. And then you let it go. Then it's no longer an issue. And then right now, in this point in your life, you no longer have that person. But at that moment, you did. And you made a conscious decision not to do that. You made a conscious choice not to do that. And I'm talking about people's personal power. You're not weak for not killing that person. You're not weak for not beating the shit out of that person. You're not weak for not getting into that fight. You're not weak for not doing that. That's your power. You knew you had that capability in that moment. You chose not to. You made the conscious decision. It's not worth it in my life to do this. That's your power. The power over self.
Yeah.
Hail thyself, motherfuckers. Hail thyself.
Self-control, man. Yeah, that is the allegory in The Karate Kid.
when Mr. Miyagi catches the fly with chopsticks. That's based on a Japanese koan where, um, you know, two Bushido samurai warriors walk into a diner to confront a man who is supposed to be beheaded by order of the shogun, the daimyo. And they witness this man eating a bowl of rice. They draw their swords. And in the middle of looking at him, he just snatches a fly out of the air with his chopsticks. Them motherfuckers put their swords back and walked straight the fuck out. It wasn't the fact that the man got up and took a powerful kamae or stance, or he ki-eyed or karate chopped his table in half that intimidated him. It was the fact that he knew they were coming, he watched them, and took that fly out of the air with these cute little puppy dog eyes. Like, what are you going to do? You know, that's the whole point of that whole Mr. Miyagi catching the fly.
Dude, I love that shit, dude. I'm okay. So modern me here. I'm a big fan of Cobra Kai, right?
Yeah, I just binge watched the last.
Yes, same here, dude. I just finished it, dude. I mean, some of it's obviously a little bit fucking ridiculous, but it's. I'm glad that they got the original actors.
Yeah.
But the whole Mr. Miyagi thing, like, I think Cobra Kai is like a huge ode to Mr. Miyagi, right?
Definitely.
And the whole concept behind Mr. Miyagi, I think, is what every single one of us as human beings is trying to achieve. We avoid fights at every turn possible. We don't want, none of us really want confrontation. Like, I mean, I guess some people do, but most of us don't actually want confrontation. Are most of us capable of going into confrontation? Of course we are. But that Mr. Miyagi concept of, if I can avoid a fight, I'm going to avoid it. But if I need to fight, I'm going to rip you apart.
Mm-hmm.
And generally speaking, like, what does Cobra Kai show? What's the point of Cobra Kai? Like, let's break this down. What's the point of the Karate Kid? What's the point of Cobra Kai? The whole point of both of those, the movie series and the TV series, the Netflix series, is to stop fighting against something and fight for something. That's the whole message. If you really pay attention, that's the whole breakdown. That's the whole message. Are you fighting against, or are you fighting for? What are you fighting for in your life? Are you fighting against something in your life? Or are you fighting for something? Because 9 times out of 10, most of your power comes from when you fight for something.
True. And you know what? I would even go further in saying that it also shows how everybody is always fighting for what they think is right.
Yes.
Because Daniel LaRusso is made out to be the bad guy to an extent in Cobra Kai.
Yes.
Made out to be the asshole who stole Johnny's girlfriend. And you know what I mean? So it's about perspective. And we've got to look. I mean, you brought up Stalin. You brought up Hitler. It's hard to swallow this fucking pill, but those people, they weren't doing what they thought was evil. These motherfuckers were doing what they thought was right.
Yep.
Not saying that they were mentally capable of making that decision. Like today, and I talk to Bonnie about this all the time in regard to this insanity plea. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, insanity plea? If you're killing human beings, you're not fucking sane.
Yeah.
So make a fucking choice. Are you going to put people in prison? Are you going to, eye for an eye? Capital punishment a motherfucker? Or are you going to put them in a padded cell? Because this is not equality. People that are killing people are not sane because, I do agree with Malice. There's not really always that one person, but there's that capability. There is that potential. We've got hands. These hands
are able to choke the life out of somebody. And if we feel like it's right in the moment and we have to do it, we will.
Yeah.
But there's ill people that do not control themselves. And they
It's
act.
it's to put it to an extreme. There are, if you really want to, understand that this is an extreme concept. Extreme. Understand that word, people. This is an extreme perspective concept. Extreme. There are two kinds of people in the world. There are those that die and those that kill. Now, are there gray areas in between? Yeah. Fucking of course there's gray areas in between. Don't be a goddamn idiot. Of course there's gray areas in between there. But if you look at the general synopsis of life, there are those that die and those that kill. Right? And those that die are generally the ones that are killed. It's survival. It's survival of the fittest. It's fucking Darwin theory. Okay? The rich are the strong, the poor are the weak, which is why the poor are so fucking pissed off at the rich. It's kill or be killed. The poor are tired of being killed, so they get pissed at the killers. The killers are in the perspective that they're doing what is necessary to stay alive. Get as many resources as humanly possible to stay alive for as long as possible. Now, am I saying that that's the way that things should be? Fuck no. Of course I'm not saying that's how things should be. I'm saying that that's how things are. In my opinion. How I see the world.
I mean, opinions are useful for getting to know ourselves.
Exactly. Well, this is why I say that there are gray areas between there. But, like, if you look at it in a general synopsis of things, like, if you want to look at it cut and dry and black and white, I mean, that's how you kind of look at it, right? It's like just like we were, like if we were cavemen. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's true because there's predator and there's prey.
Exactly.
We look at nature, and we are a part of the natural world. Now,
Exactly.
we do know that there is the gray areas, heart attacks, strokes, cancer. Like, those people are not necessarily prey to a killer, but they are, because cancer is the killer. The heart attack is the killer. You're
Yes.
killed by something.
Yes,
You know?
exactly.
So, yeah, at the end of the day, that is very true.
Yeah,
We just
you
gotta-
you either kill something or you die. Like, I mean,
Right.
so I'm going to use Mystic. I'm going to use you as an example here, right? So in Mystic's job, for example, right? Mystic has to make a lot of tough decisions. For example, who to fire and who not to fire. A lot of these people he cares about. A lot of these people he loves and cares about as friends because they've been loyal and close to him since, the very beginning. When corporate turns around and says, Mystic, you need to let these people go. Mystic enters a point of contention. I care about these people. These to me are good people. They have been here from the beginning. They've been here from the beginning of my point in this. Can I actually let these people go? Now, I can't speak for Mystic, but he has to look at the circumstances. Do I put myself and my family in a position that is economically stressful because I refuse to let these people go because they are friends of mine, because I care about them, because they're good people? Or do I make the tough decision to do what is necessary to do because someone above me is making me do this, saying that I need to do this, and find a way so I can find a way that I can sleep at night? Is he going to lose a couple of nights of sleep? Yeah, he's going to lose a couple of nights of sleep. But is he going to get back to normal? Probably.
Yep.
Are the people that he let go are going to find another job? Probably. But it's just the order of life. Whether or not you're hunting the mammoth or getting spayed by the mammoth, or you're firing people or being fired, the concept is the same. a choice needs to be made.
It is. And I don't just mean planet, I mean universe. Shit, yeah, man. You're gonna survive or you're gonna die. And there's shit that kills, and there's shit that dies. There really is that truth. But now let's not assume that killing is always like a person killing.
Yeah, like exactly. When I say killing, I'm not talking about like we're not reverting back to like the carnal nature of you killing somebody, but like
Right.
you know, like it's like the whole concept of like, you know, the '80s movies, '90s movies made popular. Like it's a dog eat dog world, right? You either eat like or be eaten. Like it's that kind of concept, right? Mystic, I'm curious because I am using you as an example. I'm curious, like, could you provide some insight on that?
Which part of it?
Like the whole concept of like, for example, you needing to let go of people that you care about. Like I want to like, because I'm not in that shit. You are. Like I want to know from you. Like, is that something that you would actually be capable of doing, or
yes?
Like,
yeah, I've done it before. I mean, it's I take liberties to make sure that
Farted, you nasty cat.
you know. I take liberties to make sure that what I do makes sense and why and what the purpose is. And for example, if I know something is coming, and I'm sworn not to tell anybody, for example, I may give somebody a heads up in a different way. You know, because I know who, and it's not a loyalty based thing either. It's I assume that anybody that I have to decide to separate from, if it's not by my choice, then if I'm the medium or the conduit that does it, has to take responsibility for that decision, or I don't do it and I make another change on the other end. So if I'm towing the line, basically what I'm saying is if I'm towing the line, then I'm towing the line. It's my line. It becomes mine. And I have to be okay with that. Like there's no other option. So that's what makes it hard, because if I'm told to do something, even if I disagree with it, if I decide to do it, then I have to accept that I'm agreeing with it. And so it creates some cognitive dissonance. It creates some empty space where I have a problem with who I am for a moment, and then I you know, will do other things to try to make those things better. Because one good thing about it's hard to give enough information and not enough. One good thing that is happening for me is the group that I work with are not people who are, they're not bad people. That makes sense. I don't know how else to say it. Like they're not, if they're making the decision or the choice to do that, it is only because it's the only option. Like it's never been arbitrary. So that makes me feel a little better. That in and of itself is arbitrary, honestly. But that is, you know, like you said, that is what's been bothering me. That's why I'm odd today. That's why I'm off center. Like my brain's not functioning the way it normally does, is because I'm in a situation where that's a thing. You know, there's not necessarily firing people or laying people off, but I'm just in a situation where I can't make the choice I want to make. And it is a preemptive strike for me to start doing what I want to make. You know, the choices that I want to do. So. It's a lot, but it does go along with the same process. Yes, I can make the decision. I am capable. And I will feel guilty about it, but that guilt doesn't last long, because ultimately my responsibility is to myself.
And
right?
your family.
Yeah.
I think we just found. I think we just found the common ground. I think
we had that conversation earlier too. It's the capability is always going to be there. Like I know Behemoth said it very well earlier, as far as, you know, we have that primal force, and it has been held down. We all have that line. We all have that limit where it's going to snap. There's no doubt there. There's no question.
Yep.
But what it comes down to is how much are you willing to set aside in order to do that, and how much are you going to allow to eat?
It's sometimes so strong that it creates the very change that we need too. Like I said something last week, you know, on this very fucking show, and the very next day my reality shifted. And we're still in the in the midst of wondering, like, wait a minute, is this coincidence? Is this being set up? Or
Never.
did
It's never
just-
coincidence.
Right.
Coincidence is bullshit.
It is. But see, we know that. Bonnie and I know that. So now we're wondering, okay, what was the reason why? Because I got to speak with my child for the first time in I don't know how long. And it just the very next day happened. Like, okay, are these motherfuckers watching the Malice Experience? Are they that far stuck up my butt? Like, how did they know I was just gonna hop in? Or did someone share the video and they're trying to be nice now and cause trouble? But at the end of the day, like I told her, I don't give a fuck. I got to talk to my daughter. That's what matters. Like, what's with this drama don't mean shit. Who gives a fuck? I don't
No,
care
exactly.
what to me because I, as a father, all I care about is being in my child's life.
No, same.
That's it.
Same.
That's it. But, I think of that, and a lot of people, they think they know who I would kill. I guarantee you, the public, it ain't the people they fucking think. Because the people they think aren't that significant. They're not significant enough to me. They don't make me sweat. So we do have that capability, and you guys really did just find common ground because we're looking at death, killing, first of all, as one fucking thing, but we're also looking at it from different layers.
Yep.
Just like the tarot card, the death card. We know that there's people out there, these new agers, on the fucking internet, on YouTube, that'll say...
Well, let's remember, we used to be New Agers. We used to be them.
But what I'm saying is, they'll say, oh, this doesn't mean literal death, but yes, it does. Death is death. Whether it's the removal of our physical life, whether it's the death of a specific circumstance, your car can die. Your dog can die. My 3D printers can fucking shit the bed. Like, death is a fucking thing. Death is death. Let's not fucking sugarcoat it and deny it. Let's
You're not wrong.
say, oh, death just means transformation. That is bullshit. Death is death.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, in my opinion, you're not wrong. Death takes many different forms.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers.
Death isn't.
Know?
Death isn't just death. And no, did we say that directly? No, we fucking didn't. Did I assume that some of you were philosophically intelligent enough to sit there and say, hey, yeah, death isn't just like physical death, but like can be take different forms? Yes, I did assume that.
Right.
So
and a lot of it is semantics.
Yeah, exactly. It is semantics. Whether you like it or not, it's semantics. So, for example, what is Mystic doing when Mystic makes the decision to say, okay, I'm gonna fire this person because the company says I have to? He just killed their career.
Murder.
Okay, he killed their career, at least their career in that company. Their overall career, maybe not, but their career in that company, he killed it. Did something die? Yes. Was it a person? No. You either kill or be killed. You eat or be eaten.
Yeah.
That's.
I'll be right back, guys. I gotta take my insulin real quick before I
That's
start
all
to
good.
feel like. I'll be right back.
All good, all good. So, Mystic, please provide more insight.
What? Like,
Like, dude, I want to know what you think, man. Whether you agree or disagree, I want to know what you think.
I told y'all already. I disagree with every fucking thing you say. Period. I'm just kidding.
So for everyone in the chat, so you all realize, so Mystic is the co-host of the show, meaning Mystic has equal pull, like I do. So nothing happens without Mystic's approval. If Mystic approves it, we do it. If he doesn't approve it, we don't. Don't give me that look, because you know it's true.
No, I was reading the chat. Like, I was trying to figure out what's happening in there.
Oh, okay. But Mystic is my best friend, and you just saw that we heavily disagreed on something. And it's not going. Here's the amazing part about us disagreeing: it's not going to affect our friendship.
Imagine that.
Right. That's the part I love.
Figure out. That's yeah.
I'm having a problem that there's somebody else in my chat named Malice right now.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah.
Like that's not me.
I kind of like the symbol. Like that's
right.
Not bad.
I mean, there's somebody in the chat named Malice. I mean, they made a comment the other day.
That's less than a month old too.
I mean, like, yeah, right. I mean, like, you know, I mean, the thing is like, there's no, you know, what is it like? What flattery is the best form of fucking.
99% of our arguments or our disagreements have always been about semantics. When you boil it down to the bottom, it's my purpose is usually just to make sure that people understand the perspective difference.
Yeah.
It's not the content. The content is we pretty much agree on. It's like for me it's making because I have a thought in my head at all times, and this is probably part of what I call to my I don't want to say call to my success, but it's what has made me be and feel and do things in a successful manner my whole life, and that is being able to constantly have multiple iterations of different perspectives and frames of reference. You know, it's part of why I think I'm a good nurse. You don't have to do the right thing for yourself. If you hey, diabetic, deal with it all the time. You don't want to take your insulin, you don't like to do it, then that's your choice. I'm going to help you do that. Is, you know, live your best life without it. I'm not going to make you try to make somebody do that. I have to always, and I've said it before, it's very critical for me to allow multiple spaces open for people to fit into, or else they may never be able to get to the same place.
What if you were dealing with somebody that wanted to end their own life, but they didn't want to end it themselves? Like they wanted an assistant.
You deal with that all the time. Like that's a constant. Elderly people are at the highest, especially elderly gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgendered people. When they get to that age, they are the most likely to actually complete suicide. I deal with it constantly. Like that's most of my patients.
Okay, how do you deal with it? Because I'm assuming that you don't agree with them ending their own lives. So how do you get to that? How do you get to that point?
I don't get to agree with them or not agree with them. I'm not allowed. That's not my choice. Like I literally have. It's like 3D, 4D, 5D. It's dimension. It's it's not just my decision or my thought and your thought and my opinion and your opinion. It's this is my opinion in this case. This is my opinion in that case. This is your opinion in that case.
Okay, so let me give you a situation. So you're dealing with a person that wants to end their own life. You disagree with the fact that they want to end their own life. How do you deal with it?
Well, first of all, I don't agree with anybody ending their own life for myself, but that's not my choice, right? What I don't agree with ending my own life. I do not get to choose that for somebody else. So somebody comes to me and says they want to do it, I treat it like anything else. I ask them, what's your plan? Do you have a plan? And if you do, I call a professional. And I work through that process, and I try to get them help. But I don't judge people who have taken their own lives. I've plenty of people close enough to me. I myself have attempted and been in the hospital for it when I was very young. And it just isn't, to me, it's not an issue because it doesn't, like, those external things don't motivate me, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not motivated by what I think you should do. I am motivated for you by what you think you should do. And that's kind of how I try to live in most cases. And that's why, like, arguments and disagreements aren't that detrimental to me being friends with people. Like, I don't have to not be okay with somebody because I disagree, because that's not the space I live in. The space I live in is a space that's mine, and it has these multiple things that live in the same space that have different allowances. And allow is not the right word because it means that I give permission, and it's not permission. It's space creation. It's space exists in my mind for anybody to feel suicidal and want to end their own life. And if that's where you are, then that's where you fucking are. I will go sit beside you. I will go be around you.
Okay. If you go,
You know?
okay, here's the thing. So you go sit beside them. You're with them. You're by them. You don't pass judgment.
No,
But what is your intention?
I can't have one.
But you do.
My intention is not to kill myself.
It's
Okay.
to hold space.
But the thing is, okay.
Just to hold space, to be
But-
there.
Yeah, it's holding space.
So
present.
you're telling me that you do not have the intention, or at least the hope, that your being there is going to stop somebody from wanting to end their own life.
No, because I don't feel that that's in my repertoire to have a choice. Like it's not. It's like I can't decide to be a black person. It's just not an option. I can't decide for you if you want to complete it, and if you are sitting beside me and you do it, I don't have an intent anymore.
Okay,
Because
so
that intent doesn't matter. My intent is only to just be present.
okay, so maybe we're understanding differently. I'm not going to give specifics because it's personal to me, and you know what I'm talking about. But I feel that at least with me, you had intention or a hope, at least maybe not an intention, but a hope of something, of an outcome.
Callous or crude, but my reaction to you is because you're a U.S. citizen and I had a duty. I have a legal license duty. I offer myself to be present. You have to take that.
Okay, I mean you can say that, but I mean you're my friend.
You can believe however you want to believe when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm pretty specific on it. Like it is about creating space for me. It is about being present. It is about people to make their own decision. I believe in allowing assisted suicide. I believe that people are allowed to choose when they die. I've always believed that. And if it's because of mental pain, I think mental pain is the same as physical pain. So I think my patients who are in deep, immense chemotherapeutic pain and want to end their life, I think they should be allowed to. If you are in deep psychological pain and you don't want to live, I think you should be allowed to make that decision. That's just how I feel. I have very, very specific, I have really thought about how my thoughts on suicide and that kind of stuff because I've attempted it before, you know? I don't, and I know what it felt like to be there. I didn't want somebody to feel pity. I didn't want somebody to change my mind. I just wanted them present.
So okay, all right, fuck it. I'm gonna put you on the spot. I love you, Mystic, but I'm gonna put you on the spot. So, if I were to end my own life, you would be indifferent.
To a degree, yeah, because you have that right. It is your right. You tell me how much. You are a left-hand path, and you are the owner and the orchestrator of your own life. Do I believe you or not? I can't have it both ways, right? You tell me.
But
on a good day, hold on. On a good day, you tell me. You are the orchestrator of your own life. You are a left-hand path. You are the decider. You are the person that runs and rules your life. I either believe that or I don't. And if I don't believe that, then it's a different reaction. But if I do believe that, which I do, you have the right to do what it is you want to do with your life.
Okay.
Will I feel a certain way, like hurt or upset? Sure. But when that issue arises, my intent has always been the same.
It's to respect his choices.
To respect choices. And that's built into me. Like, that's a big part of nursing for me. That's
a big part of freedom, liberation that we all seek.
Chat. I hope you're understanding the gravity of the conversation that we're having right now.
Yeah, I will say things to change your mind because I want you to make sure that you're making a decision that's best for you. Because I think in those instances, you know, maybe you're not thinking completely clearly. Not you personally, but anybody. Which is why helplines exist, right? But when it comes
but
down to
obviously,
it,
but would you like okay? But inside of yourself, obviously, like so you don't want to pass judgment on me for like what it is that I want to do. But inside of yourself, there's a part of you that would prefer that I would stay alive.
if you need to hear that, yes. I mean,
No.
this is something I have been through my
No,
entire life.
no. The thing
I've
is,
had-
it's not that I want to hear it. I want to know that you feel it. I don't need to hear it.
Feeling-
Like,
feeling
look,
is different
just hearing something doesn't mean shit. Like
Feeling it is different than intent, though.
you saying something because you think I need to hear it doesn't mean shit. You saying something because that's what you feel, that's what means something. So as somebody that's dealt with being on a suicidal path, you telling me something because you think I need to hear it, that doesn't mean a goddamn thing. You saying
gotta
something because you
understand that-
actually feel it, that's what means something.
You've got to understand when we talk about people that have done shadow work and have worked on things and dealt. This is the one thing that I have gone all the way through with in my life. Like I have explored the corners of how I feel about death. I'm not afraid of it. Like I don't. It's not a thing for me. Like if you were to anybody was to ultimately, complete suicide, that's their choice. I don't think that was the end for them. Like it's just not a thing for me.
Okay, but is that for you or for them?
It's for me. Like I can't do it for them. Like it has nothing to do with anybody else.
So you do it so you can deal with it.
No, I don't think it's what I can do. I think I've dealt with it. Like
But the thing is, losing somebody is obviously a difficult thing. See, like here's the thing: like this is losing somebody that's close to you, somebody that you consider, whether friend, family, whatever. Not talking about me, anybody, doesn't fucking matter. Like you can respect their decision. It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. It doesn't mean it doesn't bother
you.
You
did not ask me about hurt or feeling. You asked me about intent.
I did. I asked you about feeling. What do you feel? I asked you, what do you feel? If I were to kill myself, what do you feel?
I'm done with this conversation. You're hitting my limit.
Okay, fair enough.
I've explained how I feel. I tell you how I feel, and you are not accepting it. So that's something that you're going to have to work through.
Fair enough. We'll end it there. So, again, I reiterate the point. I love Mystic, and I am appreciative of Mystic being here. It is not very often that I reach Mystic's limit. And when Mystic tells me that I'm reaching his limit, I respect it.
I'm not mad or frustrated. I'm just like, I've told you how I feel. Like I've said it like 10 different ways. I don't know how else to explain
I understand.
it, so.
I understand the point of respecting somebody. Like what I'm curious about, what I'm trying to get to is like you respect what other people's decisions are, and I respect that, and I think that that's amazing. But I'm wondering,
you're not listening to what I'm saying. That's the problem. You're not hearing what I'm laying down, and maybe I don't know how to communicate it well.
I think if I could interject, I think what he's saying is the world is bigger than Mystic, and it's not about him.
It just, at that point, it's like I don't feel there's anything there anymore. Like there's no other step that matter. Like it isn't there. Like, you know what I mean? I've been through it. Like good example, my grandmother passed away. She raised me. I love her. I didn't cry. I wasn't upset. I didn't get frustrated. Nothing. It was nothing. And so for a long time, I tried to think, am I a sociopath? Like,
let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's like it was next level.
I am that way. My grandfather died. I wasn't upset. I didn't cry. My father died. I wasn't upset. I didn't cry. My cousin died at the age of like 13. And I was young. I didn't cry. I didn't die. My great grandmother, I've never cried over anyone's death, but I think about a couple people and I'm like, yeah, that would fucking tear me apart. Why is that? Am I a sociopath?
Yes.
I got to deal with that. Yeah. And I've been called a sociopath. I've been called a sadist because of some of the shit that I like and do.
and have fun doing it. It's kind of fucked up to think about when I have to say, yeah, it's kind of sociopathic.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think for me, I think all of us mourn in our own ways with certain things. Like with my dad, my stepfather, when he was sick, I cried quite a bit because it hurt me to see him weak because I wasn't used to seeing him weak. So that was personally for me. It wasn't for him, but it was for me. Like it hurt me emotionally. But after he died, I was kind of relieved. Because like I didn't see this strong, independent man, begging for help anymore. I felt a certain amount of relief that he was dead because he was no longer suffering, that path of like, just you understand what I'm saying.
I mean, is it sociopathy or is it spiritual maturity? Is it really sociopathic or is it understanding that
I think
energy
I think it's just understanding. My personally, I think it's understanding. I think it's understanding that this is how life works, and like when you have somebody like, I would hope that like if I were sick and to the point like sick and feeble, people would be sad that I'm sick and feeble, not that I'm dead. I would hope that people would be relieved. Oh, at least he's at peace now. That's what I would hope, because
See, it's not even just that though, right? When somebody is at the point where they are feeling suicidal or whatever. My grandmother, going back to that context, she was also had Alzheimer's for 10 years, and so she slowly died over time, right? Slowly, and by the time she actually died, we had all grieved, except for the extended family, and they were so fucking pissed off at us for not being upset. They're like, "How dare you? You're not even crying because grandma."
my mother my mother
we
was
went through
pissed
it.
at me. Yeah, my mother was pissed at me because I didn't cry when it was
Yeah.
when she turned the phone around and showed me like my stepfather's dead body in a coffin. I remember that day, and I'll never forget it. I felt nothing. I didn't feel anything. Like I didn't even feel relief. Like I can't even say I felt relieved. Like I just
felt
didn't feel.
relief.
I just didn't feel anything. Like when I saw him suffering, I cried. I cried for him. I cried because of him. When I saw him suffering, when I saw him in the coffin, when I saw the shell of what he used to be, I felt nothing. Because maybe it's because of how I believe in things, but for me he was no longer there. That wasn't him anymore. That was just his vessel. I don't feel anything for the vessel. I felt for the person that was suffering inside of the vessel that no longer functioned, the vessel that no longer.
That goes along with the same thing, right? What we were talking about earlier. That to me, at that point, there's a change, but I feel like, and I'm sure I will deal with this again, just like when I go back through shadow work and like I already dealt with that. Yeah, no, you didn't. You have to deal with it again in a different way, right? You constantly reprocess things in different ways as you age and as you go through life. And I've started out having that kind of grief early on and dealing with those things. So now I feel like when somebody is in that suffering stage, let's talk about my fear of dying, right? I'm not afraid to die. I am afraid to die in my sleep. How freaking weird is that? We've talked about this, right?
Yep.
I want to die in a fiery, burning everything. I need to feel when I'm dying. That is a huge part of my shadow that I need to work on. I know that. That's a part of my growth pattern.
No, but I can understand that, because the thing is, if you die in your sleep, you never get this. You never get.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not okay. I'm assuming here, but maybe it's not that you're afraid to die in your sleep, but you're afraid to not to say goodbye, not to have that opportunity.
It's afraid of being unaware of my passing. So I think it really sticks even harder to the fact that I don't want to not be able to think or have my brain. Hey, love the hair.
Fucking Bonnie.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's so weird. People always like, you don't want to die. Like, you want to die in your sleep, right? Everyone wants to die in their sleep. I'm like, no, I have to be awake and alert when I'm dying. or I will. That's a problem for me.
I'm going
And
to
I
use the
think-
restroom real quick. Keep it going.
Yeah, and I think that's part of one of the things that really kind of freaks me out a little bit, just about my own personal way. Like, yeah, that is definitely something I need to go through. But that whole, like, I'm definitely a sociopath. I wasn't even upset when my grandmother passed and having to kind of deal with it. But the point for me has always been, I can only control the things that I'm doing, and I've dealt, I think, with enough um suicide attempts and things in my life, not me personally necessarily, but anybody, with patients and family members and God, friends, the whole 9 yards. It's just like, I've learned that you don't change people's mind at that stage. You just be present. You just are there, and you have to let them figure it out or not figure it out. And you know what? If they don't, it's, you can't, because if you don't, you take the guilt with you. That's, the same thing with, I have lots of regrets about my grandmother's passing, about not being there more for her in that time frame. But those regrets eventually turned into, they are what they are. They moved on. I am who I am, and that's the next step. That's just what it is. And I do have to stop now because the hair is awesome, and I know Rook is probably screaming in his room now. Because that's what he does.
See, I don't know, man. I really do wonder, like, is it sociopathy, or is it really just...
I want to say it's spiritual growth and empowerment, but
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, think about it, guys. When I'm talking about family, friends that have died, I've been around it my whole life, and I know that if one of my children died, completely fucking different.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because that's not natural. I don't think it's natural for parents to bury their children. But I can't say that.
You can't.
Because that's a social norm. But that's not necessarily true. Parents have buried their children since the beginning of human history. That's what Lilith is.
Toby's best friend, when my middle son was 8, and see, a lot of people do not realize my middle son, he is gone. He doesn't understand how strong he is, and I'm I'm sure some people probably think he's my favorite. No, I see so much of myself in him. It scares me. When he was 8 years old, he lost his best friend. This child, I had to explain to an 8-year-old, just turned 8, that his friend was not coming back. And I remember it was the first day of school, and I was like, oh God, how do I tell him this on the first day of school? I said, but if we live in a small town, and unfortunately somebody dying is gossip. In my opinion, I don't like the way it's looked at that way, and I was not willing to let him go to school and somebody else tell him. And I brought him out on my mother's back porch because, we'd left my my youngest son's dad at the time. We had just left an abusive fucking household. And I said, baby, I have something I have to tell you, and it's not good. And I am holding, choking back, crying while I'm talking. And he could see something's not good, but Mama's also, I've been going through abuse, and he was probably not thinking, what could it be? And I said, I have friends, and I was just kind of talking about how people and animals and everything like that dies. I said, well, unfortunately, sometimes we have our own friends, no matter how young we are, they die too. And he looked and he said, Titi? His name was Tavion, but Titi? And it was into it. It was, and I said, baby, I am so sorry. Yes, honey. And he put his hands around my neck and just bawled. And we had our moment. And he went to school, made it through. His now TT's mother. I love that. I love that woman to this day with all my. She is the epitome of strength. Okay. Next, it was like the next week, and this was right after burying her baby child. She had already signed up and was fixing to start nursing school. Now, let me tell you, now she made it through. Okay,
Awesome.
she did. But I looked and I was thinking, oh God, how? You know, she's got these other babies, you know, but I was crying because I would be doing laundry and I'd find that child's clothes at my house. And I'm like, do I take them back to her? Oh, no, I don't think. I think that would just be too much. I was, it was the way it affected me because he had spent a lot of nights at our home. And it, having to see be that close to somebody else deal with a child's death, oh my God. I can't say we couldn't make it. I don't think I would. But she did. And she became something more.
Life goes on, or it doesn't. And it's a choice.
And I don't think she's a bad person because she did go on.
No.
She's the epitome of strength, you know? Doesn't mean she didn't love her kid anymore. I think it's.
No, she took that darkness. I mean, this is really what.
It's
the darkness is our power.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me a little bit of a situation where somebody I worked with, her son overdosed. She was a little older than I am. Her son was about my age. His name was the same as mine. And we were really close. She left working for us. She did very well, but I never called her for the next year because I knew I sounded like him and I didn't want to call and say, hey, Angela, it's Brian, and her think that, oh my God, oh shit, it's you. And I knew she wouldn't feel it that way, but that kept me from calling her for like almost a year.
See, and that's interesting. Like, okay, so at TT's memorial, see, she asked Toby, his mama asked Toby to be it was like an honor. It was, what is it? What are the ones that carry the pallbearer? It was a junior pallbearer. And when we went by, I remember Toby was curious and he wanted to look at the coffin. They had it open and it was a car wreck and it was not good. First of all, a body that's passed away never looks the same. I don't care how good the mortician is, they never look the same. There was no soul in that body. It changes immediately. It looks so, to me, I can tell it's empty. And he's trying to peek and I didn't really let him. I let him look, because he was shorter and they had it up high, thank goodness. And so he could kind of see a little bit of a silhouette, and that was enough for him, thank goodness. Now, when we left, he freaked out. His thing was he didn't want, and I didn't realize that other people, other cultures, and just from just different families do things different. I wasn't accustomed to watching somebody lower the casket. That's what killed my kid. Because I don't want to see them put dirt on it. And I didn't even think about it. And I called one of the other people. I said, are they going to bury him in front of people? They said, yeah. I said, okay. I said, well, and I called his mom. I said, Toby, he's not ready for it. But I was scared that she didn't want to see Toby. She took comfort. Every time she saw Toby, for her, it reminded her of her child. When she hugged Toby, because they were so close, it gave her comfort. Now, I don't think everybody's the same, but I think, maybe you were punishing yourself instead of her. You know what I mean? Like you were meaning to do well and to protect her from more pain. But maybe she needed that. It's weird. Everybody's so different, but that's what I love about you. We try to do the right thing because we don't want to hurt a person more than they already are. It's so, death is, it sounds like y'all have all been through a lot, dealt with it a lot. And I'm almost curious, is it something that people that are pulled to this stuff, right? Is it because of life experience after trauma, death? No?
No, because we all lose people. Death is a part of life for everybody. Life and death are the
Like,
same thing. We start dying the moment we're conceived.
the whole thing of me thinking, and I've thought this a lot, like the whole sociopath thing, like something's wrong with me because I'm not reacting the way I'm supposed to, because that's how people react. Let me tell you, when my dog died, and every dog before and after, that's the one thing that reminds me that I'm a human, like, because that I don't have kids, so and I'm
Right.
assuming I probably will feel that way, like with my parents and sister, maybe I don't know. I mean, I love them, obviously, but I just, it is what it is. But man, my dog, I I was probably as close to suicidal as I've been as an adult, and not being able to function. I couldn't work, I couldn't do anything for like 3 weeks. It was insane. And I
They
think it was a projection, though, at that point, of all of the other emotions that I was having. I could let it out for the dog because it's an animal. They can't control anything. But man,
Right.
that was something.
Animals are like kids, man. It's not
the same way.
it's not the same as a grandfather who has
Old.
lived up into their 70s and they've lived their life, and you know what I mean? It's different. And I can die right now. And this is why I laugh at all these people that want me dead. Like, motherfucker, it's my friend. I'm not afraid of it. I could die right now. I have done so much more with my life because I have decided to not be what the world wanted me to fucking be. I wasn't going to be a draftsman like my mother wanted me to be, a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer. I fucking didn't want to work for the man. Never have. I did what I wanted to do, and I've accomplished and learned so much in this life. I've lived a full fucking life. So me dying, it's not a big fucking deal. The only reason it's a big fucking deal is I know that I have a daughter
Yeah,
that's
I'm sure that would
dealing
change things.
that's dealing with people that aren't necessarily emotionally stable and capable of actually loving her. And I have to be there to protect her. You know what I mean? So but I don't like this idea that it's always trauma. It's always us being a victim. That's what creates someone on the left-hand path. No, no, we're not fucking victims. You know what I mean? This is an educated decision for me because I went to fucking Bible school. Like, and I knew that this made more sense. This allowed me to come to my own conclusions through my own actual spiritual work, which isn't just putting money in a collection plate and writhing around on the floor pretending like I'm overcome by the Holy Spirit.
Y'all wanna
You know?
y'all wanna lighten up a minute and hear a funny story? Sorry, you said collection. Mm. So I was like up until about when I was about 30. After that was about when I was like, I don't think I'm Christian. You know what I mean? It was just, even when I was doing the glory poetry and standing up, sitting down, standing up, at the at church, Methodist, but it's a branch of Catholicism. It just never felt right. I wanted to ask questions, and even as a
Can't do
kid,
that.
I was shushed a lot,
Mhm.
a lot. And I remember I took my kid, and it was Communion Sunday. Toby, and this was my middle one. That poor, like I said, I see myself in him. Because we, oh Lord, we go up, the altar. This is bad, because kids will look, and my child's he was very perceptive. He's watching the preacher come, and he's handing the bread, and then the little acolyte is handing out the little glass of wine or blood. Here's the body, and here's the blood. Here's the body, here's the blood. And I'm sure, and he's watching them, and he gets him. and they hand him, and he goes, "Here's the body," and Toby's like kind of panicking, and the kid goes, "Here's the blood." Toby drops it and runs down the aisle in the middle, screaming, "I know blood!" He's
That's
that
awesome.
dude. Do you know how it's like? We just fucked up my child in church. He's going to have fucking problems now because of church.
Well, yeah, he
Think
thinks
of it.
y'all are drinking blood.
Come on, I know. He was so listening, and of course they allow kids, or they'll have them. A lot of churches will try to get you to bring the little ones in early, right? You better be breaking that down a little bit, because fucking vampires. I mean, he panicked. I had to run, and I had to go into the front of the. He just made it out the front by the time, because everybody's laughing. I'm going, "Oh my God, what just happened?" My
That is
mother goes,
hilarious.
"Oh," and I still tease him that. I said, "All right," because right now is my family is like kind of has him. He's wearing a Christian cross, but he's still talking his pagan talk too at the same time. And I said, "Child, you can pretend to wear that cross all you want." I said, "But you ran out of fucking communion when you were 3 years old, like freaking the fuck out." He laughed. He goes, "I know." He said, "But that shit's all weird." I said, "It is." Because, what is, I mean, it is a creepy, to me, I see where that he, as a child, and his innocence, honestly, made me realize how fucked up it is. Why are we like why are we symbolically taking in cannibalism?
It's a little weird. I mean, there's no way around it.
He's handing love. I mean, but there's a better way to put it. I just always thought about that. There's so many things about church, and it was that one thing. It's like, he's 3 and he figured something out, you know. And it was just always those weird little things like that. I remember, I don't even know quite how old I was, but I remember it was like right at the beginning of Vacation Bible School or something like that. And I kept raising my hand to ask questions like it was school or something. I wanted to learn. Well, we're not having that. And I was getting frustrated and slamming my hand down. And my dad, because the parents were there at this one sermon or whatever, and he goes, "Just stop." Because and I said, I remember as I was older, I said, "I remember you didn't like me asking questions after church." He said, "It's about faith." And I said, "But what's faith? Like faith? How?"
See, I don't know. I've
Gotta
never
have
been to
faith,
church
faith,
like that.
faith.
If I had fucking questions, and I'm not gonna lie, my church fucking answered them. Like these horror stories I hear about church, I've never.
My
seen-
church, mine was a horror story. I got kicked out, but not because of the pagan thing. I literally was told at the front of the church by the pastor to get out and not to come back because I was gay. So that was a whole. They were family friends, apparently. It was great.
Well,
Yeah.
Mr. Judge not, lest you be judged first.
my youngest son's
You
dad
know,
thanked the church. I went to the preacher, right, when the abuse had gotten so bad. I didn't know who else to talk to. I couldn't go to my parents because my parents would want me to get out of it, and I was afraid to leave. I remember, I always tell myself now, never say, I would never do that, because I remember watching, what is it, the movie with J-Lo where she was being beat by her husband or whatever. It's like, I would have never put enough. It's called enough. It's like, I would have never put up. Then I get to find out. I fucked around and found out what an abusive relationship really is, right? I've learned I don't say that ever, because when we're here to learn lessons, especially when we are spiritually connected, sometimes I think our mouth can put us, get us in trouble. And
I just don't know.
my preacher I went to them, they tried to talk to him, but he started threatening them. And instead of me leaving, or them, basically giving me a blessing to go and get out of it, they told me that I would be offending God because my ex told them well, God frowns upon, divorce. And like, so he was throwing that in their face. Like they were supposed to take, or they were supposed to take his side. And they threw that shit
I
at me.
don't know, dude. I'm a trained priest. I know exactly how I would respond to a woman who is being abused. You leave. Leaving is not the
That's
same as divorce. It's not the same as divorce. You leave and you
I don't
press.
understand how's that even a question. Like, it's not a religious thing. There's no religion to that. Like, nobody deserves to be not treated appropriately.
When I was at Hail Jesus Church, that's
Well,
where.
that's what all churches are.
No, this one was where they would lean up on the wall and be, oh Lord, yeah. Like you got.
Oh,
I, I took
you felt it.
that kind of church, and she was terrified. She was, I'm never coming to church with you.
I mean, as a trained fucking priest, no, divorce isn't a thing. So I would not say get a divorce. I would say leave. If he tries to harm you, you have to call the fucking police and protect yourself. Like, that's a biblical fucking thing. There were wives that were not with their fucking husbands, but they had to remain married. It's not. I don't like the lore built around Christianity that makes it so fucking nasty. Because of most of the time, we are being Christian.
Well, Christian
We're
people.
lying.
That's a good point.
To make ourselves feel better. But Methodists, it's a whole different fucking kind of thing.
Yeah.
I see it. You know what I mean? But I've been to Bible school, dude.
It is.
And it's like, why? Why don't they teach these people? Because to be a priest is to also be, I mean, you're a counselor, a spiritual counselor, a therapist.
The Methodists, they follow the Apostles' Creed, all of that. Of course, now the only thing that we didn't have that the Catholic Church has, really, the main thing that is Mary. We were like, well, like, why would you talk, straight to God? Like, you don't have to talk to her.
I don't know much about any of that because I was Southern Baptist for the first 15 years, so it was amazing.
Fire and brimstone. And
Looking back on it, it's kind of like the hell that's sociopath. Like there's some.
The Baptists, they teach the hanger and the fire side of God.
Yeah, we skip all the easy stuff and go right to the you're gonna burn.
Yeah, God almost left. Didn't even tell them to build an ark. Type shit. It's.
Well, what pisses me off is people need a goddamn book to tell them how to be an effective human being.
Yeah.
That really fucking.
That's kind of sad.
Burns my ass like you wouldn't believe.
Right. Well, yeah. It is.
And then turn around and use it as an excuse to be evil. Like Hitler, let's fucking talk and drop truth. The motherfucker worked for the Catholic Church.
It's gross. Yeah.
And you're going to use a book that can justify behavior like that. And at the same time rely on that same book to be a good person? Like, you people are confused.
The judgment. That was one thing that was just really repulsive to me. It's like these people think they're really good, and like that was my aunt. When what's funny is I was leaving the church as she was going to church. Now my aunt is lesbian, and I say she goes, I am what I am. I am not attracted to men. I said, you're still lesbian.
Well,
she would
what that means. Yeah.
But it was like she was trying to ignore the fact. But she goes, I don't want to go to hell. My aunt is choosing a life to live alone, and I know she's lonely and sad. And for why?
That makes me sad.
No, you have no. Look, I love her. She was my aunt that got me into horror. She was the cool aunt, man. And the cool music. She was that aunt. Like she didn't have kids because she was a lesbian. Like she was the one that would have it teach like all when we were like young teenagers. She did all the cool stuff with us, but she was also watching over us. And I said, why would you, I said, how is it that I said, I don't understand. I said, Donna, a God that loves you is gonna want you happy and accepts you for who you are, loves you anyway.
But a person that's actually close to God doesn't need anyone else.
But
you know what I mean?
You're
not alone.
If she found somebody and that made her happy, why wouldn't God want her to be fulfilled or feel fulfilled? Like it.
I give her props. I think it's self-control.
Yeah, but
I'm not going to judge her, and I'm not going to assume that she's sad.
Actually sacrifices and sticks to demonic pacts better than a lot of fucking the cultists I know. So I'm just saying.
I mean, I get where you're coming from too. Like, I get the idea maybe of self-control, but I kind of feel like that's to me, and this is one of my probable weaknesses, anyways. Like, I don't personally feel like I have self-control in some things, but being lonely in the human world to me isn't. It's almost the opposite of self-control. It's the fear of God that keeps you from having something joyous.
Yeah, it wasn't self-control. It's fear. She truly believes she's going to go forward. She truly thinks she's going to burn. Yes. In fire forever and ever. And like that's why she's so worried about me. And I'm going.
See, look, this is what's it's really. I think this is why they should allow gay men to be priests within the Catholic Church.
Well, because
I know. But no, dude. See, this is the fucking problem. These men who have sexual fucking preferences, they become a part of the church out of fear because of a social fucking agenda.
They can hide.
And then, like I said earlier, if you have those violent urges and those tendencies, exercise them. You have to allow them to have consensual relationships, but instead they take vows of chastity that they honestly don't want to keep. They want to have a partner that they can love. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's not right to dictate through religion who you can and cannot love.
I don't think any part of religion ever chose or meant to even do that. I think that is all a construct of man who's got his fingers fucked up in the thing. Yeah.
And it's
homosexuality is just as old as mankind.
My aunt actually had. I was prepared because of my aunt for my oldest. I knew. I mean, but she would also say this one when we were all having kids, all my cousins. So my mother was one of 8 kids. So there was a lot of grandkids, and they all decided to get pregnant at the same time. So there's like 8 of us about the same, 6 of us about the same age, and we all had babies at the same time. I swear it's some weird alien experiment. Like we really all did have a baby within the year. And when they were growing up, she was, he's gonna be gay, and he's gonna be gay. This one I'm not sure about yet. And she damn straight on everyone. I mean, so I was like, and I got pretty damn good because of her with my.
You're gonna burn in hell, witch. You're a medium.
Right.
I love it.
I miss that aunt because guess what? That aunt had, if she didn't walk away, if she didn't walk towards Christianity, she'd be able to be there for those kids when they were having questions that they were afraid to come to their parents, no matter how open the parents were. I would have it breaks my heart that he didn't feel that bad because that's not who she was anymore. Ugh. Now, I will say for those now, when she feels like somebody in the family is kind of attacking them, now she won't stand up for herself, but she will stand up for the babies. They're adults now, most of them, but she will speak up for them. Which I'm like, okay, I'm seeing some spark there a little bit. Maybe she's starting to be like, wait a minute. Y'all, because she can hate herself, or she can deny something or be afraid to go to hell herself, but when they start doing it because they all call her mama or aunt, or grandma, because she was always there for all of us. So a lot of them she would keep over on weekends or something if anybody wanted to go do anything. And so they're like her grandbabies in a way too. And so when somebody starts, she feels like picking on them or condemning them. She's not liking it.
Not
She don't
gonna
like
take it.
right. So
Yeah.
that I do like seeing that part of her still because I'm like, okay, well, you're fixing to be like outed by the family now because you're standing up to them, but it is what it is. I do appreciate it. It's sad to see her having that. To me, she's still in conflict.
Yeah, that's I think a lot of people are in that space where they have that conflict, whether it's that for church or something else, and then but the thing that gets me about the church in general that is the ability to just confess away certain things, and it's kind of like, yeah, how is that the absolution of being
Right.
who you're supposed to be here on this planet,
I agree. Like, why does this person need to hear your confession?
Yeah.
And how do they know what your like? I saw, and I really like this the other. I think it was one of these. He's can't I don't know his name. Yeah, watch him on YouTube. But he was a mentalist for years, but he's also a body language expert. He a lot of stuff for true crime and stuff he would do. But he said, so really, I think that they were talking about that. What's the dude's name that's just hates women? What's he? Oh, I don't even like his
Not familiar with him.
this dickhead that is talking about how and now every once in a while he'll say something that's like, okay, that wasn't quite stupid. I'm listening. And then he'll say something so insulting towards women that it's like, oh fuck, what's this dude's name? He's been all over the fucking news and all over the internet lately. He got canceled. Got canceled big time. Shit. Anyway, but when you have somebody like this that they think they are the one true expert, and I think y'all were talking about this earlier, and it made me think of it too, about all right, when it comes to a certain situation, like, okay, well, everybody has it in them to kill. I don't know. I don't know if all do. Most people do, but like, and of course, I like The Handmaid's Tale. I watched this the other day. You have June, who is fighting for she's angry, she's using her trauma, and she's going after those that hurt her. But then you have the other person that's just trying to survive, that's afraid to speak up, to do anything. And so I'm like, I think everybody's going to be different when it comes to, but when you deal with a person that's trying to, act like they're the expert on all answers, right? You ask them, how do you know? How do you know? Because like, if you're going to say, okay, well, Mystic, what you have it in you to kill. And you'll be like, Bonnie, how do you know? I'm like, how would I know? That'll be, it's one of those things when you approach a person like that, it's going to, I mean, how would I know how you might handle the situation? I mean, I think you're he's very Virgo, very, very, you're so grounded. I think you'd be the one I'm like, you're not even going to cut him a little. But yeah, I think that we cannot, not one person's going to be the fucking
Campy.
Yeah, I was recently accused of having bloodlust, and I'm like, what?
Bloodlust.
Like, really? You're fucking confused, because that's not me. You know what I mean? I'm not a fucking violent person. I could be pissed. And I'm fucking not one to say that I don't get angry, but yeah, we don't know. And honestly, that is a hypothetical question. But at the end of the day, when there's so-called experts, and this is what I have issues with all these horror stories I hear about churches not wanting to answer questions, and me not being a part of any church like that ever. My issue with that is these are so-called spiritual experts. Your very soul and its well-being is
Depends
in
on
their
you.
fucking hands. And when you ask questions and they want, like, how do you know? And they don't answer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why if you come upon somebody like that, if that is one way to really stumble one of these, like basically, if you're wanting to stumble a person that doesn't have all the answers, but they act like they do or pretend that they do, that is the way to derail them, I guess you'd say.
Not me, because
Yeah,
I'll
I've
tell
never.
Because you don't say, I don't know,
you, or I'll tell you how I know.
or how you know. And then you say, now, and you're like, here is the book. You know what I mean? Like, pull up your fucking.
Here's the book, here's the logic,
Right. Here is the
here's the rationale.
mathematical equation. Here's how you work this equation. But you know,
I'm just thinking of every time I ever asked questions when I was in a church or Sunday school, whatever. The answers either were
Faith.
you just faith is the biggest one. The number two one is God, what? Oh my, it was just flipped out of my mind too. It's not faith. It was like they just had. It was always an answer that you
It's a
just
question within
can't.
it.
Yeah, exactly. You can't. It was just a dead end circle of nothingness. It's like you
that is
can't.
like they tell you to always watch for that in other people. Like if somebody that
Yeah.
answers a question is answering a question with a question, hold up, answer my question. You know what I mean?
Well, the issue is with church is it's an elitist hierarchy. And I know because I was a part of it. You know, as a priest or a pastor, you are brought up in theology, exegesis. You know what I mean? You know how to look at the totality of the Bible. And you know how to utilize this process of exegesis, pulling knowledge or wisdom out of the Bible and applying it to life, right? And I'm not going to sit there and talk shit about the Bible. People can talk shit about that book all they want. There's wisdom there.
Hmm?
It's a grimoire. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's bad that intelligence is bad these days. Like, we get mad. People get mad when someone has intelligence. They get fucking angry. You're a fucking know-it-all, you arrogant prick. That's how people will look at me. And they look at me like that even more because I could tell them how I know.
Right.
It's even worse. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
And this is the one my
So
family
my
always hated.
thing is, it doesn't matter. Let people think what they want. And you know,
Right.
but it's an issue because they got women in teaching Sunday school, but they don't know theology, exegesis. They're not trained in that. So that's the only answer they have. That's the church's fault.
Well, and they're seeing this thing that even when I was younger, it's always bothered me because the one thing I knew for a fact was that the Bible, well, what is the word of God? But it was written by man, right? But it was the word of God coming. It was God gave that to. I said, and I have actually used that. How do you know? Because guess what? Let's look at the spiritual community. Let's say we have an occultist that is talking about this deity. Now we don't. This occultist might be a little unhinged, honestly, but he carries himself very well or herself very well, or not. But
Yeah, I don't know.
But-
Go off.
but some people, though, what I'm saying is
Some
they're going to put their own perspective or their own beliefs, or some people what they want others to do in said book or grimoire or Bible. I'm sorry, but okay, let's say that the Book of John was written by John or whatever. Do you think there's not a little bit of their own personal influence? And that's one thing I'd always say ask. If this person wrote this book, how do you know that they didn't put any of their own feelings or emotions in that?
I'm sure they did. That
human.
But see, here's the thing. This is what Christian apologists will utilize to prove the truth of the Bible, and that's what you need to understand. Like, there's differences in the Gospels. There's differences in the Gospels. There are differences in the Gospels. Feeding the people with the fucking fish and all of that, like the numbers, they differ. And what they will say is that in any criminal investigation, if different perspectives line up perfectly, 99.9% of the time there is a collusion, there is a collaboration, and the story is being fabricated. Now, historically, we can look at the social class of women within biblical text. If that was fabricated, they would have never said that Mary was the one who found Jesus Christ's tomb empty, because they never would have trusted a woman. This is what Christian apologists would use to prove the legitimacy of the Bible. And that's what left-hand path motherfuckers need to understand, is that if you're claiming to be the devil incarnate, you better know the Bible better than most fucking Christians.
Yeah, that I've heard before. But I mean, there's really not, from at least from my perspective, I've read the Bible a long time ago. Like, I don't remember. I'm certainly not a scholar on the matter at all. I have to admit, I find the reading kind of dry from my perspective, because I don't know what the fuck it's saying half the time. But when as an adult, when I think of, without a direction, without a process, Sans Bible, Sans directory of grimoires, I find myself drawn to a specific practice, right? There's almost what feels like an innate practice of going outside, barefoot, working on the land, being around, cleaning the yard, doing things, planting things. That stuff feels very natural, and that to me is what would call. You don't need a Bible for all of that. So that's to me, and I know it's kind of a long way around a short answer, right? But that's kind of where I get to the point where it's just it doesn't matter. So what is the purpose of the Bible? What is the purpose of any of that? If I've never heard of it, never seen it, never had any opportunity to read it, it wouldn't have changed anything in my life at this point. I don't consider myself left-hand path or Satanist for that matter. Yet the book that I'm reading right now is probably one of the most beneficial, if not aligning pieces of short text that I've read, which is just a simple left-hand path guide, right? And it's simple, short, gives you a couple information, doesn't tell you you're right or wrong. It says, here's a couple things you can do. This is how you take care of yourself. This is how you become, who you're supposed to become. It's so simple, and it just is like, this is what it should be like. I don't need to drink the blood or take the body, or, if I want some flesh in my mouth, I'll find it.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I get it. I mean, I could tell you the purpose of the Bible, and it's political control. There's nothing. But here's what I also want people to know, man. Like, everybody out here throwing the title Luciferian around. Everybody out here throwing these terms around and claiming this shit. They need to know the history of what the fuck's going on here, because Madame Blavatsky had her hands in the New International Version. Like, the Theosophy movement has its hands in the fucking church.
What a horrid lady.
A horrid lady. H.P. Blavatsky is the founder of the Theosophical Society and the origin of Luciferian ideology.
Really? Wasn't she also Hitler's?
I don't know about that. All I know is people don't know what the fuck they think they know. And I get called a fucking know-it-all because I know. And then when I tell them why I know why and how I know why I fucking know it, I look like even more of an asshole.
There's too many people that are What is there was a movie, and I want to watch it again now. Where everybody was. It just reminded me of the big commercial. The name of Idiocracy. Yeah,
I hate that movie.
Oh, I like
I'm gonna have
it.
to look it up.
I like it.
I like some of the actors, but I just think the movie was fucking bad.
I think Rook was just talking about the best movie I've seen lately has been Phantasm, the horror movie from the 80s. I'm like, we're obsessed with rewatching all of those. So we went back
I
doing
didn't
all the
see
old ones.
him the other day. Was it the tall man? Wasn't it?
This, yeah.
You called the tall man?
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Like I think that I'm getting hints that we need to be watching that right now because I think I was supposed to have a stop time of 1 hour for today. And I don't know where Malice just like absolutely disappeared to. So
Yeah, he did just go ghost.
um
Well, he could have said something. Like hey,
Shoot.
I gotta grab my insulin. I'll be right back. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe it was that bad. Like, oh shit.
I'm used to it. But I know like for me just going back to these old 80s and 90s, especially horror movies like what was it, Night of the Demons, all that stuff. I love those movies anyway, but I think
Evil. That was my fave.
what is it?
976 Evil.
Why do I feel like I've seen that? Okay, that's on the list.
Yeah, dude, look it up. I loved it. I loved it.
Today, and he was like just because it's mind fuckery, but like I had him to watch the Babadook the other day.
I love the Babadook.
Yeah.
Well, he's like, wasn't he like he was like one of the gay praise because the Netflix fucked up and they
What?
when it first came out they put it under the titles of like gay movies.
Really?
Yes, but it was an accident. But he became like the horror gay iconic symbol.
I didn't know that.
So stupid.
Like, have you ever seen? Did you know that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
The Babadook will be in a lot of the gay parades.
Yeah.
No play. Look it up.
Oh, yeah.
You will. Yes.
That is like I'm familiar. I remember watching it for the first time. That's how we found it. It's hilarious.
You think that's how you found it? And shut
That's
the
how
hell
we
up.
found it. Yeah.
Where you going? How is this? How is
Yeah.
Like,
It's like right next to the one about like the gay guy from Utah who falls in love with a Mormon person or something, you know? It was great. It was not a porn, I promise. But yeah, no. Between that and well, Nightmare on Elm Street is my all-time favorite forever. Hellraiser is also at the top of the list, but man, Freddy was that.
See, I'm more of a Michael Myers kind of gal. But
I love Freddy Krueger, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was based in Ohio too, and every town in Ohio does have an Elm Street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But I was always telling people I was so mad when they were there. Texas Chainsaw. You know how many people in Texas would tell you, my ex-husband worked with the prison guard and met that man. So that shit didn't happen. It ain't a real story. First of all, it's about and then everybody looking at me like I'm a psychopath because I know. But just don't lie. Like, lie. Who decided to go home and say, you know what? I saw the Leatherface today. Like, where did people come up with some of this shit? But they would live. I knew so many people that supposedly met Leatherface at Huntsville prison because that's where that's the one of the big ones. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. You know, it was crazy. But no, I did like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now that one, the little
There's too many horror movies based on those true events. I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Silence of the Lambs. There's a couple other ones too.
you can't go and take a picture at that
Right.
house. Used to, you could sneak up and take pictures of it. Now you get in trouble.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to go figure out where the hell Malice went. I think we might have to call it so I can find his ass.
All right.
All right.
You sounded very southern just then. Where are you from? Now I'm gonna have.
I'm from Virginia.
It came out
It does. It does when I drink a little bit every once in a while. Just it's in there. I've tried so hard to get rid of it.
Mm.
'Cause down here in Florida, that accent will get you run off the road.
Whoa,
They're-
really?
They're crazy down here. Yes.
Well,
Well, that's it. I don't know. The craziest drivers I've ever had was in frickin' Texas. Like, if there's no question, every single street I've ever been on, I've been run off the road.
Texas, they say is friendly. I'm like,
Speed limit 75. They're going 95 in a truck that probably shouldn't have been on the road the last 20 years. The back wheel's going like that the whole way down the road.
I have seen literally what is it, the Jeepers Creepers, something that look. I have a picture of something. I saw a truck that I was behind a truck coming home from Waco one night. Even better. Oh, this story sounds like a horror movie. Coming home from Waco, and I swear,
That sounds like a movie already.
20 miles. I was stuck. My Christopher was with me. I said, Christopher, I think we're behind Jeepers Creepers. He's like, what? And I said, you don't know the Creepers, so I had to show him. He goes, and he looked at the car. He goes, we're gonna be okay, aren't we? I was like, I don't know.
Oh, that's cute.
Actually love that series, and they're doing another one, and
It's
there's
been 23
all
years on my
kinds.
I
There's
did see
all
that. I
kinds.
saw that.
There's like the dude apparently who wrote it and directed it was a fucking child molester, man, and they were not gonna do another one, but somehow
They
they're-
figured it out. They could give it enough time. Maybe they thought everybody would forget, right?
Yeah.
No.
Please.
I
But
mean,
anywho, I'm gonna call it for tonight. I guess in Malice's words, "Hail thyself." It's been a great night. I don't know where the hell he fell off to. He's probably passed out in the next room, or something about papayas. I don't know. So it's exciting. It's always great to have you guys on. Hopefully, we'll do this again next Friday.
Yes.
for sure.
You
So-
can give me some horror suggestions. I need some new ones.
Oh, look, we started back in 1975. We're just watching every single thing that came out over again. It's amazing.
Ooh, I love Rosemary's Baby. That's one of my favorite.
We started with Cat's Eye. That was the first one. We started with Cat's Eye. That was the one that got everything back into the role.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
I think we can do probably an after show chat if anybody wants to, just for a little bit. So I'll start that up too, just for the record. Give me about 5 minutes to go to the bathroom, and yeah, we'll see you guys around next.